silence?
Yeah, it's the silence before the start.
I don't think my mic is on.
You gotta turn it out. Mine was on for sure. Let's go. Finger guns, y'all. Oh man, it is another night. We even have kids in the background. Hey, you didn't even close the door, sir. What the heck?
What do you live in a barn?
You live in a barn, lights on and door open to the laundry room, which you can't
Wow,
see. So
it
is
very
what
dad
it is.
vibes at the beginning of this show.
You're welcome. That's what you get out of the hangout.
Welcome everyone to the Hangout. It's Adam, it's Ryan, and it's Thursday, so we're hanging out.
As always, it's a great night. I love being able to hang out. Ryan came over 50 minutes beforehand.
Yeah.
We've been chit-chatting it up.
Totally.
Probably talked a little bit about the stuff that we were going to talk about for tonight. I'm excited because we have a packed show tonight, and as we always do. Did not have a lot of time to navigate tonight's main topic is what I thought. First week of school, if you're in higher education, a lot of back to school activities, very busy at the job. The busiest week of the year for those that are in higher education. But I still had some time to pull this out. I did like a bunch of late nights to be able to bring this to y'all tonight.
That's great.
So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, well, because we have a different type of, again, not just a normal conversation tonight, sort of a little bit of Adam versus Ryan, sort of like last time. Last time was a debate, and this time is more of a pitch.
Pitch off is what we're calling it.
Okay. You have to run these things by me, Adam, before the show.
It's in the freaking slogan of the start of the show.
You did apparently, and I didn't read it. So yeah, we're on the heels of Sam Altman talking about some things, South Park talking about some things, and we were just like, hey, we're gonna do our own AI company pitch. I will pitch one company. Adam will pitch a company, and we will just like see what that leads to.
I like the idea that we're starting to do. Sometimes it's a little versus, but it's like we have to have some altering opinions. Otherwise, we're just two guys it's
just an echo chamber of like these things. What is neat, and what do we like?
Which is a lot the same, but we do have disagreements, and I'm not going to say we're disagreeing today. I think it's just really cool because we get to see where our minds took us as we kind of wrap around. So it was my time this week to come up with the concept, and thank goodness for some of the media that's been out there because it really kind of influenced where we're headed tonight.
It was timely to say the least. But we'll also be doing news segments. We got a bunch of cool news stuff. Lots of cool new AI things came out in the last 2 weeks that we want to talk about and maybe even show off a little. And some just like fun and interesting techie and creative stories from out there. And we even got some suggestions for things in our Discord. So if you ever want to hang out in the Discord, come and find us.
And I apparently started a little bit of drama in the Discord because somebody had released the Inktober list, and I'm like, show it to me, and everyone's like, ugh, who would do this kind of a thing? I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, y'all. So
yeah,
you know what? Oh yeah, it's that time, right? I think it's your time too. Cheers.
Nice, thank you. Yeah, we're going to be doing Inktober this year. Well, Adam did it last year, and so did Disturbed in the Discord, and I will be doing it this year.
Heck yeah, Ryan, we're going to do this. Hey, did you go to the Colorado State Fair this year?
I did go to the State Fair. I did.
There was a art piece in there where somebody had a bunch of little sticky notes that had little drawings and got first place. And I was like, that could have been me. Damn. I should have put in.
A tasteful frame for your Inktober's could have led you to a blue ribbon at the Colorado State Fair.
What'd you think?
I mean, the State Fair is the same State Fair that it has been since I was 5 years old. But I specifically about the art at the State Fair, I thought a good mix. Like I enjoyed many of the pieces. No AI from what I can tell, at least, or maybe just AI is getting too good for me too. But there was no obvious like mid-journey,
just straight AI,
right? Yeah. Where somebody just straight up prompted an AI and put it in a picture frame, like that was not in there from what I could tell. And they were labeling that in previous years, right?
Sure,
it would
sure.
have to say, so we would have noticed there. But yeah, I thought it was good. I ate a lot of garbagey food, deep fried food, so that was awesome. I got 20,000 steps or something ridiculous, so I feel like it evened out. No,
That's great.
Good times.
Yeah, we started out the first day and did a bunch of laps of there, but like you said, it was a lot of the same thing. So if you're in Colorado, go check out the Colorado State Fair. Go get some greasy food out there. Sponsored by the Colorado State Fair. All right, so let's get some questions for humans out there.
We always start the show off with some questions for
we
humans.
got He-Higs in the chat, by the way. Just gotta give some call out. Excited to watch the show. Thank you for that excitement.
Nice. Yeah,
if you're out there, let us know those vibes. We definitely get energized when your comments come into the chat. When they cover my face, my ugly face, that's the best.
Just the entire third of the screen.
How many episodes have I thought about it? Hey, they got some chats. Hey, Stealth Mouse. I was like, I could move that right in between us, and it would be perfect every single time. Right, but I never do the thing.
Just
I never
forget about it.
It's like whatever. Cover my face.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a questions for humans from friends, and one of them. This question is, who is your worst kiss, and who is your weirdest kiss?
That's very revealing.
Yeah, right?
I don't have that camera.
No?
I guess not. The razor's out.
Oh, no.
All right, well, you're going to have to see it right here.
Anyway, I swear it says that. It says who, and, maybe this could be like where, or when was your worst kiss, or with who, or any of those things.
That's a tough
one.
Good,
like worst kisses, weirdest kisses in your life. Can you think of? I was trying to think. Like, I don't know if I have like incredibly memorable kisses necessarily. Like, there's probably like college probably is where I would say is sort of things like more random things just happen.
It's kind of revealing in a way. I think that I have a name. I don't want to dox anybody.
Sure. No,
so
totally.
I'll just tell some experiences if you're good with that. Like,
totally.
So I think the first kiss that I ever had that was like quite a legitimate date kiss was after a movie. And I came out of the movie and it was that tension and you're like, oh, okay, to do this. And like, it was like a kiss on the lips and it wasn't like tongue or anything like that. Felt just like, oh, I did a kiss. And then I turned around and my parents are freaking watching, taking pictures. I'm like, what? So amazing. Awkward. Yeah. That was an awkward one.
That's a good one. I don't know if I can top that. That's fun. I know in college one, I went out on a date with a girl who had given me answers to a test in art history class. And I was like, and I'd remember being like, yeah, great. Thank you. Like, and then even in my 19-year-old or 18-year-old dumb brain being like, oh, like, I think I understand. She's like trying to, do something for me so that we can, like maybe do something. So I was like, okay, hey, let's go out. Let's go out on a date. And so we went out and we did all the thing and we were like coming back to the dorm. And I think, like, I don't know what happened. I don't know if she was, like, embarrassed that she was doing or something was happening with her roommate or there was something. But, like, we sort of walked back to her door and she just, like, jumped in the door and then, like, slammed the door on me. And I remember being like, what the hell? Like, I thought that went okay. And then she, like, came back out and was like, thank you for the day or whatever and kissed me and then ran back inside of her door. And I was like...
That is weird.
I was like, what just happened? Like, I don't think we went out again.
Saw her again.
she was actually a ghost.
No, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Thinking about weird ones, because mine was that first one. I don't know if it was weird. It was just like one of the memorable ones. But then I think the weirdest is there was a girl that I really liked. And this is where I'm really, it was like was it a Seinfeld moment where there was a time where somebody smelled like soup, or was it a Friends moment? I can't remember which one. One of those two, Seinfeld or Friends, they always made excuses when they went out with women. I'm like, she smelled like soup, or this happened like over here. I can't date this person because of this.
Yeah.
Dumb me. I mean, she was a pretty attractive girl that I was like dating. And then one time we like, we were in theater together, and we went to this place to get costumes. And of course, like, it was really hard. He had very strict parents, so it was like hard to like be alone. And like we went into this little like area that was where you do your trying on, and she like kissed me.
Nice.
And she had terrible bad breath, and like the tongue was terrible, and I was just like nuts to that relationship. But in hindsight,
could be like in high school.
But in hindsight, I was like, oh my god, how shallow! I was such a like, it could have been a great relationship. But
yeah, you two could have been married right now.
Yeah, we could have. But and then she dated some nerd after that, and I was like, oh man, like.
You're like,
I had that. Not in a bad way. I mean, like, you know,
you're like, that could I rejected that.
I rejected it.
You can have whatever. Okay, I have one.
No. All right.
Do you so we've been watching you know the Harlem Globetrotters, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And then have you heard about the Savannah Bananas?
I don't know if I want to.
Savannah Bananas is sort of like a Harlem Globetrotter-y version of baseball.
Okay.
Like, and
that was going somewhere else.
Hey, you know, Savannah, banana rhymes with Savannah, and they're from Savannah. And what it is it's sort of like the Harlem Globe. They go to city, and they play a sort of exhibition type game where they do. See, love the Bananas. Exactly. I tried to get tickets to when they came into Denver, and was like, it's so popular, you have to be put on a lottery to even be able to have the opportunity to pay them $100 a ticket. And they sell, you know, the entire Coors Field. So if you could Harlem Globetrotterize something, what would you do that sort of like take something that's somewhat serious or somewhat competitive and makes it sort of more vaudeville?
Yeah, so you get like the best of something.
Yeah, like it's like fun
together.
and entertaining, and it's not real. It's almost like a professional wrestling to real wrestling, right?
Hey,
ooh, Stealth Mouse in the chat. Football, like why isn't there a Harlem Globetrotters of football?
There is. It's the Pro Bowl, right?
No,
I don't know.
That's the All-Star game.
This is a tough one. Like, because if you did it on sports. That's like I'm trying to think of something that's not sportsy.
Right. That isn't sports. Because I was like pickleball. Like, is pickleball like
watches
big
pickleball?
Enough? I know
maybe golf.
Golf.
Golf could be cool because golf is generally not the most interactive to watch. Yeah. But think about some guy coming out like bouncing a ball on the club and then doing a spin around and smashing it out of the air. Or somebody does a flip. You're describing the plot of Happy Gilmore 2. Oh my God. I hope you know. I didn't watch it yet.
Well, spoilers. But we had what did Mike Azul in the chat say? He had a suggestion.
Chess.
Okay. Like a everyone would sort of be around the chessboard. It would be more intimate, right? But
how do you do hardcore chess like a globetrotter
chess,
spinning the pawns on your thing? Yeah, let's go, boy.
Like almost like you be doing dramatic moves, right?
How do you dramatically move in chess?
Like you take crazy, risks and take the queen out of this thing. It would be a very nerdy version of Harlem Globetrottering, but
I feel like that would be. It would be too difficult because it's like very.
What about like an art gallery or something? Like I was trying to think of something that wasn't sports, something that's serious, seems serious.
Life-size pieces in chess. They're all people are in the pieces.
All right, see, now we're talking. I like it. Now we're building a stadium like tour around it.
I think people kind of do this, but like it would be cool with musicians if you had these like. People, like, you would almost have like a fantasy musician team where people would like vote like we want this and this person to like come together and make a band. And then it was like
that
boom.
Would be cool.
It'd be nice. I don't know. Those are my 2 cents.
Nice. All right, do you have one to round us out for?
Oh my God, do I have something? Yeah, I do. I have a lot of them. I looked at it earlier today.
Super group.
Yeah, like NSYNC or Boys to Men too. Wait, is that a thing?
You're showing your when you grew up.
Yeah, whatever. What is it? Is there even modern boy bands anymore?
BTS, right?
I don't even know what that is.
It's a K-pop band.
All right. What is the most unnecessary hill you're willing to die on?
Oh man. So it's like very small petty things.
Yeah, for sure.
That you're just like
what's something about yourself that just irks you? And it doesn't make a big difference necessarily in the bigger grand scheme of life, but like, drives you batty. You'll fight it.
that you will like argue against at that point.
Like I'm very impressionable about like debris on the ground or like papers and stuff like because my ADHD-ish kind of tendencies.
Sure. Right. I can see
it
that.
drives me nuts and to the point where like I'll get on people for it. I'm like, you can pick that up, you can change that, or like I will go and do it myself. So that's one of mine.
You know what? I feel like one of mine might be like
we use in Walmarts.
Like maybe very cynical people all the time who are trying to do something. I feel like I fight against the thing of being like no, you should be like just generally sort of positive about things. And when people are too negative about things, I always feel like I don't know, like I'm trying to convince them not to be negative, which is a bad thing, right? Because people have their feelings, they
Sure.
do whatever. But I'm always kind of like we should mostly be being positive to each other.
I feel that vibe because if you bring negative energy in, it's like you're just
Right.
going to keep spreading the negative. And I tell people like, if you just went behind my eyes, sometimes I'm super like negative right now.
Sure.
But you're getting my vibe because I just want you to have a good day. And
Right.
and if I just bring negativity, we got to call this one out in the chat.
Manitou Incline.
It's a pun here, buddy. Think about it. What's one unnecessary hill you're willing to die on?
I love it.
Ching.
Love it. Nice.
It's good. I can definitely say Stealth Mouse is 100% like every time I say, hey, I went to Walmart, the very first thing I get is ew. It's the text message. She does not go. I do not go to Walmart very often, but there are sometimes I have to. I probably only went like 3 times in the last year. And I've already gone twice this year, so only got one more shot at it.
One more. You have to time it out for the perfect Walmart trip. Why no Walmart?
It's just, have you been in Walmarts
Yeah.
lately? It just feels so drab and like depressing.
Right.
Like everyone is pissed off to be there.
Yeah.
People don't dress right on there.
Yeah.
It's not great.
No, I get that. That makes sense.
Separate Ways is Journey's best song, and Don't Stop Believing is just fine.
Ah, all right.
That's a hell of a, okay.
I'm trying to think of what separate ways Journey song.
We may have to start singing it. We have to bring it up.
Look at that. All right, should we jump into these?
I think it is news time.
Items.
Ryan's starting it off because I have no clue what this is.
Great.
Robot Olympics?
We should.
Oh shoot! Yeah, I know what this is.
Right. It's like this is a big thing. This happened in China the last few weeks.
Oh, you did put a link in.
So
Thank
I
you.
put a link in. I think like this would be fun to watch, just as we comment over the top of it. Basically, what I had heard is that China was sort of like, hey, we sort of seem to be doing pretty good at robot stuff. So like, let's do a thing that shows off internationally, like kind of how good our robots are doing. And so they put together a 1-day world humanoid games, which I think is fun. Like we're sort of seeing like, yeah, what is kind of the state of robotics right now? I think this is good. None of them are attached to anything. Lots of things before this had like wires coming out and everything.
So for those in the podcast, what we're seeing here
sure.
is a bunch of people, robots and people on a field, and they're playing sports. They're running track.
Yeah.
We got them falling down,
Like,
boxing each other.
Yeah. There was a kickboxing tournament. There was races. There was soccer games, things like that. And lots of robots falling down. Which, I mean, I don't know if these are the most state-of-the-art robots, right, at this point. I don't know. But, they're...
It's like he's kicking people. He just kicked himself
Like,
down.
he kicks, but are they even making contact? I think it's more, like, fun at this point to sort of see, like... But in the future... Do you think you would watch like Robot Olympics?
This is the Will Smith of eating spaghetti.
Yeah,
of robot. Like
right.
next year, we're gonna be like cheering them on.
Yeah.
That robot creeping up is freaking me
like,
out. It's like, let's go, boy.
Let's go. Who are you?
So I saw this one, and he was a robot was running around, and he was in this little like court, and he was doing something very innocuous, and he fell over and just like started like going crazy. I was like, that would have hurt people if he got hit by that.
Yeah.
But what I thought was interesting is they had some obstacle courses, and they were like running through it and being able to assess. I definitely think it's good. So this guy is apparently very excited. There's a guy talking about his robot.
Anyway, I was just like,
I loved it.
I like things like that. I think it would be fun to. I would go to it if there was a robot Olympics happening in my hometown. I would definitely be going to it.
So I think it's interesting because I've been very much considering purchasing a robot.
Oh, okay. Like one of those like kit ones,
it's one that's like just that amount you could afford it, like about $8,000 or so.
What can it do for $8,000 though? Because I feel like the $8,000 ones you end up with like mittens.
Yeah, we won't talk about what it can do.
You're like.
Just kidding.
You're like it's I'm using it as a boxing partner.
Boxing thing. Yeah, like he's gonna churn some butter. There's a lot of butter that needs to be churned here, so
you're like,
we gotta
why do you have all these fleshlights taped all over your?
Those are my butter churns, Ryan. Come on now.
Yikes! People are definitely doing that, aren't they?
Yes,
Next topic.
I know. This is a family show. I thought this was a family show.
This is a family show.
But I mean, my hot take on it is that I definitely like the idea of having more robotic things happening. What I would say, I think a future version of it is when they start putting flesh around it. And like, imagine a boxing match where like, it's now bleeding out of there, and you're like, oh yeah, like you can see the damage. If like two robots just punching each other, you're like, whatever. Yeah, okay. Unless there's like dents or like arms flying off, I don't want to watch it.
So when is it humans versus robots? Would you watch a little?
Oh my god, that ain't gonna happen.
Some man versus the machine.
Well, that would have to be like a first person shooter, right? There would be like, what was the new series on Amazon where they did the one with Zan? And it was based off of, I don't know if you saw this, but it was basically humans shooting robots and killing them. Because I'm thinking like for sport. It was a sport. It was like a thing. But the robots also had guns and could shoot.
What? So I could get shot by the robot as well?
It was a show. It wasn't real.
No, I know. It was
like,
but still, like, because I've seen Westworld.
Secret episode or secret, right? What was the thing? Secret level, as I believe what it was.
Okay. About video games.
I could see. Imagine it was like a laser tag version.
Yeah.
Of like
I think that would
running
be fun.
around and shooting robots.
Paintball, and awesome. I'd be like, we're noobs at paintball. Can you turn down their aggressiveness so I can feel like I'm winning sometimes?
Until they like hack the system and they realize that what they're doing, just like the freaking secret level. I'm telling you, it's coming.
Spoilers.
It's happening. All right, this one next up on there. Digital IDs are becoming a thing. This is a non-AI story. I was like, I need to get some non-AI stories here. So one of the big things is that there's been a big push for digital IDs. I don't know if you've seen this lately. The idea that when you log in online that you are authenticating who you are. And the first thing that a lot of people are saying is like, okay, this is complex. There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of privacy concerns. Yeah. There's a lot that's going on with these digital IDs. So think about digital credentials. So that you verify yourself online, you can get into the sites that you should be able to get to.
Sure, and kids can't get into sites that they shouldn't be able to
other things.
Get to. Like I could see that, like you're going through the airport, right, or something where you need to show an official ID, and you have a very official digital ID to show, same as you would a physical ID, right? I mean, I feel like some of that seems pretty straightforward. Where you're like, yeah, it seems weird that we don't have that already. But I feel like the problem is you see that at like a massive scale and you go like, oh, right. Who do I trust? Who do I trust with all of that information?
Well, and part of it is that they're trying to use blockchain and using different ways to identify, and also ways of other than saying, here's my birth date. Like you can say you're of age without having to say what your birth date is.
Yeah.
And so the concept here is that if we start building these digital IDs, that you'll be able to have access. It stops identity theft more, or at least curbs it a lot more. So the concept, though, is starting to get people a little spooked naturally.
Yeah.
Because it feels like the openness, the free web that we've been out there. You can go find anything. You can find your community, and you're not getting tracked because you have a freaking ID that you have to take around there.
Right.
So it's starting to create some alarm. It sounded like that a lot of this started with the age verification and the age filtering. You've heard about this before. Like they're trying to curb people getting to pornography sites and all of that. And that's what they're saying it is. But it's just going to grow to something a lot broader and bigger.
Yeah, because I feel like that's the problem with sort of big data things to begin with, is you're like, wow, who do I trust to have that much stuff? And when you have a normal ID, I mean, I guess, so say you had a driver's license, you're sort of trusting the government, right? That they're like, well, if I'm signing up for all these things and doing all this stuff, you know my name and you know my social security number and you know that, and you're kind of trusting the government for that. But man, I feel like this goes even further with that trust, where you really have to trust somebody to do that. And, you know, I'm sure who's ever in power right now in the United States, there's half of the country who's like, great, I totally trust them with it. And the other half doesn't like that. And as soon as that power flips, the other side is not going to trust them. And so I feel like when you have that little of trust, I don't think you get anything enough benefit.
I think it's the hard part. It's you know, how are they regulated? Right. One of the things though they're saying is, you know, having a little piece of plastic in your wallet isn't going to be as good as like a cryptographically secured, verifiable, you know, Bitcoined or that's the wrong word, but like, you know, blockchain kind of identity.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like if there was an altruistic way to be doing that, and you know, if you talk about blockchain, like the way that we are using blockchain now is cryptocurrency gambling, basically, is like not I don't think that was anybody's perfect idea of how the blockchain should be used. So no. I think it could be interesting with that, but man, it's sort of like the connected cities that we talked about. Like, is it worth the privacy loss to do something like this? And I don't know.
And the surveillance. I think there's privacy and then just like that full side of it.
Right.
I think the reason I wanted to bring this up is we talk so much about AI, and there's probably a big bubble that we've been hanging out on in this stream, but we wanted to start calling out some of these other tech things. And this one was one that I think is creeping around on the side, because I've seen a lot of states implement certain laws that say age verification. And like we said, it started and it's nested in pornography, but I think it has a broader, bigger space out of that, is that people are using that as the in. And then once it starts to grow and it's everything online, I kind of think also about like, you know, dual factor authentication. Think of how hard it is for some people to even grasp their head around that. Right. And now you're like, you have a cryptographically set up ID and you need to make sure that you hold on to this. Otherwise, your identity is screwed forever.
Right, gone.
And like, that feels like we're going towards an interesting thing. So we're going to have it like installed in our brain or our wrist or something.
So implanted in my hand.
And then they're cutting people's hands off. All right, sorry.
to get into their bank accounts.
Heck yeah.
I think I saw a Mission Impossible like this.
Oh.
Next one? Next news item?
That's right. Next news. Wait, we had a shout out request. We just got to give some shout out. Looks like Laura is out for the evening. So out. Thanks for hanging out with us as long as you could. We have some football games that are happening tomorrow in the Colorado region. So it's the Pigskin County versus Pueblo West. This is a called out shout out.
Rivalry?
It's a rivalry. The only problem is one's a different division than the other, and they kind of always tear the other one up. What? But we won't say what that is.
That doesn't feel like a good rivalry.
I know, but it's the rivalry. They just like do the thing, and and you cheer the team on, and you do your best. But regardless, like, go County. That's the thing.
It feels a little half-hearted, to be honest.
It does. But you know what? You got to go support your team. You got to support, and it was a long-standing rivalry. And so, like, how do you stop that?
Right.
You can't.
No, yeah, totally. All right, nice.
Anyways, shout out County. Go County. My son won at tennis today. Just got to give
and another shout out.
Him. Shout out. Good job, Ash.
Great job.
Against the Pueblo West.
Hey, nice.
Oh, there's good odds this year, so the odds are up. Are you saying I should put in some bets right now? Should I be changing my bets?
Because you were betting against them?
Oh, no, Ryan. That didn't happen.
Oh, my God. I got to call my bookie.
Girl, just put it on.
Yeah, just, I just got it.
All right, next up. Subscriptions to your car's power. What the F?
I did read this.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, If you
physical objects as a service is pretty terrible to me.
Just the idea that everything is subscription based is driving me bonkers. The fact that they like eked it into some games when we were playing on our phones, I was like, okay, that's really annoying. Now you have to pay a subscription to get your car's power. So Volkswagen, you got to get it on. We're gonna get it on them. A software based horsepower subscription. For your ID3 electronic hatchback.
So you're basically like you're paying a monthly subscription to unlock something in your car that already exists in the car, but you're just paying to like allow your car to take advantage of that.
It improves acceleration and torque while keeping the driving range unchanged. On your electric car, you can unlock that.
It seems, I feel like this goes into like ownership. Like, do I own my car? Could I take my whatever vehicle this is, whatever one we were talking about,
my God.
and like, could I take it to a like a jailbreaking auto mechanic and have them unlock it for? Is that like illegal under this? I feel like this has.
It just seems
like
so dumb.
Imagine if you bought a house, right? And they were like, well, you can unlock the upstairs if you pay a certain amount per month. You're like, just roll that into the price and give me the entire thing. Thanks.
Yeah, it seems so crap. And like I see in the chat, Mike Azul's talking about doctors are doing monthly subscriptions.
Right.
Concierge medicine. This is like cyberpunk style.
Yeah.
Like you gotta have the bill on it or they'll come and help you out, but you get shot, whatever. You didn't get our contract. You're not subscribed.
Yeah, you're not subscribed to this.
I mean,
this
that's what
ambulance
insurance
service.
is anyway.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
Jesus,
to be honest, it's just taking it further. But I feel like what this does is just all this is doing is just trying to be able to give you a lower upfront cost, right? So you could say, hey, you know what, our cars. $30,000 brand new, or whatever their cost is brand new. So then you could say like, yeah, it's 30 grand. Oh, but you want it to go fast, right? Like maybe you could spend this extra money per month. I think it's car companies throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. And I hope to God this does not stick.
This is Ryan being positive here.
Yeah.
I'm going negative on this.
Right,
They were charging for heating your seats.
Right.
They were charged. It's like
they tried that, but they
literally
didn't go
there.
Yeah.
It's in your freaking car. You're not getting anything more. They're just unlocking a feature.
But do you remember when video games would come with the DLC on the disc?
Ugh.
And you couldn't access the DLC on the disc
remember this.
until you paid them, the amount that was for DLC, and then you were allowed to do things that were on the disc. Like that was the thing with video games tried the same thing.
They're just trying to bleed us for every cent and every gap. I like to block the windshield with ads until you watch the ad before you drive. Oh,
I just have to.
God.
I have to drive through a McDonald's drive-through once a week for my car to start.
Oh, for God's sake! Yeah, like your outside of your car becomes a big ad just because you don't pay your subscription. So everyone's like, "Ha ha! Look at that guy!"
Every time I open the door, the radio plays me a McDonald's ad or a Walmart ad or something like an Amazon Prime ad.
The worst part is this is so real. This is what we're doing. We're going there. So.
Yeah, you haven't heard my business pitch, Adam. It's going to be amazing.
We're probably buttering this guy up for his. He's going to win it tonight, right? All right, so I had to go with two things, and I went both sides of the coin here, changing it to energy use at Google is down, accordingly to this article.
Okay.
Last time we debated,
are
these data centers creating climate change? Or is that a thing? And so
this article says no, Google down.
They said that 33 times reduction in energy uses and a 44 reduction in carbon footprint per prompt compared to May 2024. So there's the key
like
thing.
A year.
Compared
right.
Doesn't mean it's not up, but their prompt per energy use is down.
Yeah. And I feel like that's a good thing, right? It's like that's what I talked about when I was arguing this, is that like the AI allows you to look at massive amounts of data and make better decisions about cooling and all of that kind of stuff that makes it more efficient, right? Is that kind of do they say specifically, is it efficiencies that have taken these down from
a little bit in like the ways that they built the models, but you know, a lot of the independent perspectives that came out are also saying like, hey, this is self-serving. There's a little bit of that greenwashing we've been talking about, because they don't account for indirect water use for other facilities that are producing power. They don't talk about like the methodology of the research not been peer reviewed. There has been a lot of skepticism of saying like, okay, you're making yourself sound really good, but when you get behind the scenes, you're not talking about these other things that you should be contributing to it. So it's very much that greenwashing episode of like, is it real? Or I mean, it sounds like they're making improvements, but grand scheme of things, are we moving the dial?
Well, and it just goes to show again, like I don't think anybody should be necessarily trusting Google's numbers on this. That's why you need outside independent, either governments or agencies that look at these things and say, is that actually true? Like, are you actually doing those things? And we need to come in and test stuff, not just reading your press release and trusting you.
And it hits on Jovan's. Is it Jovan's?
Javon's paradox.
Javon's paradox. You use that. So
talked about Javon's paradox like quite a bit on this show. It's basically that like when something becomes cheaper, you don't start using less of it and saving money. More people start using it. So when gas gets cheaper, we don't just use less gas and spend less money on gas. We go, great, now I can go on that road trip that I wasn't going to do before. And so more gas ends up getting used. And so this is just the idea that like as AI gets cheaper and more able to offset sort of its carbon things, just more people are going to start using it. And so then it ends up, putting actually more carbon into the atmosphere than it would have before.
It also leads into this next story, Ryan. And I think these were so timely. It's crazy. Like we are always tip of the spear, on the edge of the
bleeding edge.
Because like these came out literally in the week since the 2 weeks since we had this conversation. Is that electrical prices are soaring right now? Yeah. If you haven't heard about this, it is even more than I was able to present in our debate. I said in the debate, based off the research, that the AI data centers were using 1% of our power.
I think that's globally, though.
Globally.
So this one was talking about not globally. This is U.S. is 4%.
So 4% rising, but projections of 12% of the power grid by 2028.
Right. Which is like, what, 2 years from now, basically?
Yeah, it's
2.5
crazy.
years.
But then here's the thing I was trying to get at is that I think in our debate, it was like our AI data centers or just data centers in general really contributing to like the climate change. And I think that we could debatably say that maybe that wasn't the biggest impact on our entire climate change, just the data centers themselves. But these are those like spidering or cascading effects that we're starting to see where who's picking up the tab when there needs to be some changes to the energy or the infrastructure for electric. And it's homeowners, it's small businesses, it's those out there that are having to pay more to get the energy that they should have always had before because other data centers are sucking it up.
This sounds like an Adam Stump speech for his congressman run.
That's right. Vote
Small
Adam.
businesses are paying more, and I'm against that.
I was thinking I should run for politics one of these
should.
days. That would be fun.
Totally. I think that would
City
be super
council.
fun. City council. You
I'm
going to
do it.
Small?
Let's
Great.
do it.
All right, let's do it.
Next 24-hour stream, Adam's running for Congress.
Yeah, we use ChatGPT and we just build this entire campaign. I got a blazer.
I might do it. I might actually do it. I actually thought about running for city council. I'm not even kidding you.
Me too. I've also done this. All right.
Stuff ballots for you, Adam.
Oh, hey, we'll talk about that. If you want to talk about stuffing ballots, please join us in the Discord. We'll have a private server for that.
Yeah, that's on the spot. So anyways, long story short, it does seem like electricity costs are just skyrocketing. We're starting to see it on homeowners. It's outpacing inflation in the U.S. at this point.
I mean, at some point, I understand what they're saying with this. I'm going to play devil's advocate slightly.
Let's go for it.
Just in the sense that, like, you have more people and you have more people who need to be connected to electrical stuff already. Like, and you have more electrical things in your entire life, right? Like even electrical cars and stuff like that. They all need electricity to power that stuff. And we do have an aging infrastructure of transformers and power plants and everything. And they do need to get updated. Like AI or not, they got to get updated.
For sure.
You know, like there's just no way that we're not using electricity for a long time. Hopefully more of it gets done by, you know, solar and renewables type stuff, wind and everything. But like the physical geothermal would love that. Like even nuclear and even those, like they need a infrastructure to be able to pump that much electricity into things, not only for AI, but also just for the community.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm just saying AI is taking a chunk of that and it's pulling out of that
100%. And what I was, you know, like the thing sort of on the opposite side of that is like, yes, but if a certain company or a certain type of thing is pulling more than it normally does, then like, hey, we need to be able to either tax them more or have them pay a larger share of that if new infrastructure that everybody is going to use, including AI companies and everybody else, is going to get built.
I feel like we're right back up 2 weeks ago, Ryan, right here. Absolutely.
Listen to our debate.
No, this is good because it is like hot edged kind of work, and I agree with you. And I think that we're just at this weird point where there's so much new crap coming out. It's hard to untangle like bad old infrastructure, new fun cool stuff,
right?
And it's all intersecting in one space, and you know we're getting screwed by it. To a certain degree.
Next news item.
Nano banana.
Nano banana. Have you heard of nano banana?
I have not heard of nano banana.
Oh my god, nano banana is sweeping the country, Adam.
What's with bananas? Why is there Savannah bananas and nano bananas?
Because banana's a funny word.
It's a banana. Huh? Oh my god. Give me a little bit of word. What's nano banana?
Nano banana, for the thousandth time, is the word is lost all meaning. No, so what this is the sort of secret code or project name for Google's new image creation process, basically, right? It's new AI for that. And, it's called, Gemini 2.5 Flash or whatever, but who cares, because Nano Banana is way better of a title for this. They're even using it in their own Mid-East and North Africa blog post that apparently I didn't realize I had linked to versus the North America one. But what I thought this is an amazing, if you have not played with this before or you don't have access to.
I have not touched it at all.
So the cool thing is like I use ChatGPT and the pro version of that in sort of my personal life and network leader life. And then in my work life, I use Gemini products. And it's good because it sort of shows me, hey, who's doing different things? How do they work better? Man, this image generation is awesome. You should not bring it up that it's in the Trello. You should bring it up from the folder I gave you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what this is like, this has very specific use cases. And what it is it's like it can keep original sort of characters or images that you bring in. It can add things to it, sort of almost like a Photoshop, but you're doing it just through text, and it keeps that adherence to the original photo way better than anything else has done before. If you've ever used AI and uploaded an image and said, oh my God, now make the background pink or whatever, and a lot of times changes the entire image, or things don't look right, or characters change and now they're slightly different, or now they have slightly different hair and things like that. And so what this does is it fixes a lot of that. So some creatives are definitely freaking out about this because it does seem like you could do a lot of things that would normally take a creative professional to do. So one thing that I did is, I don't know when we could bring this up, Adam, if you like.
When you're ready.
But like, so basically what you could do is you could do things like this. So we are building a sunroom onto the back of our house.
So we got a picture of a sunroom right here with a bunch of
yes.
debris, but yes, like green.
Sort of in a half-done sunroom at this point, right? It's sort of it's framed in. It has the windows in and the doors and stuff like that, but there's just garbage, too, because it's halfway done.
Yeah, they're
no
making
ceiling. They're halfway through building.
Looks
but
good,
what
by
happened?
The way.
Yeah, hey,
looking great, man.
And so. What happened was they were like, hey, we need to start picking out what color you want this thing. You want to paint the walls. Hey, what kind of, tile do you want? And I was like, I don't know, right? Like, I don't know. But what I did know is that we were doing a tongue and groove ceiling. And if you don't know what a tongue and groove ceiling is, it's like very small slats of wood.
Okay.
And so I was like, hey, apparently this new Nano Banana is very good at taking things and adding stuff to it. And so I was like, great, upload this picture that I took randomly on my phone. And I was like, amazing. So next slide. I was like, here is our patio. And this is the overhang of the patio. And it's going to have this same sort of style of look. That's tongue and groove.
Okay.
And it's going to have these big sort of like darker wood beams in it. Along there. So I was like, great. I gave it both of these images, and then next image, I was like, okay, add the tongue and groove ceiling to the ceiling.
Damn good.
And so it did a pretty good job. That's the same color. It's like going in the right direction. It takes out the skylights that were in the top. And I'm thinking, great. Okay. Here's the tongue and groove ceiling. Now I can sort of see what that looks like. Next one.
Okay. Is this a good one or a bad one?
No, okay.
Oh!
So then I'm like, all right, paint these walls green. I was like, here is the hex code.
I thought that was real before,
right?
When I saw the thumbnail.
Right?
We're looking at a really realistic
totally
thing here.
So I was like, here's the hex code of green that I want. I just sort of picked one at random. And I was like, great, make the walls this hex color of green. Fill in the walls for me. Okay, next slide. I was doing this one at a time because that's what it sort of said that we wanted. No, that one. And then I gave it that image again, and I said, we're gonna have these dark pillars just like in the patio that we have next to this, because they sort of go together. And I was like, what does that look like? Add those. And I said, add it along the edges and the corners, but not the floor, is what I told it. And so it went and added these. I feel like it did it along the edge of the French doors there at the end, right? And I was like, man, I didn't tell it to do that, but like, amazing. That looks pretty close. And then finally, I was like, okay, we need now tile. And so I literally went to Home Depot's website, and I was like, here's a color tile I think could be good. And I fed it that and said, make that the tile underneath. And for some reason it cropped it very weirdly on this last one, but I feel like it sort of shows you're like, hey, it kind of put this room together in a way that now I can look at this and say, this is kind of what it would look like when it's done. Is that what we want? Like maybe we want darker tile, right? Or maybe we wanted a different color. Maybe you don't want those dark, pillars in there, or those dark posts. I feel like it was so cool to be able to do that, but also, man, scary for people who make their living
like yourself there,
yeah, exactly.
Sir.
Well, and I don't do that as much in my job anymore, but like, I mean, this would be very something that like a designer, like an architecture firm, right? Or something that places would do.
This is pretty amazing.
Like, it's pretty amazing to see that.
I'm just trying to find the Nano Banana now. Is that the Nano Banana?
In the background?
There is one Nano Banana in here. I'm pretty sure that's it right there. I found it.
So that's
beautiful.
interesting, right? But
Okay.
they also said that like it's all about like taking a character that you have and making sure that character. So could we click on the first one here?
Oh God, the worst picture of me.
So what I did,
invented.
so what I did was I was like, oh well, we gotta have a character, and I can see if this character can live throughout many different iterations of the thing. So I went online and I was like, what are the Adam? I can't do Ryan Higley, of course, that's ridiculous. I got to do Adam Pocious. So I grabbed this image from who knows, the CSU Pueblo website or something like that, and I was like, great, all right, I got this picture of Adam. And one of their suggestions, I went through their suggestions of what to do, and the first one was, well, you could take a person and you could say, what if they were like a matador in a bullfighting ring, and they showed a picture of that. So I went, okay, take this picture of Adam Pocious and make him a bullfighter in a bullfighting
Damn,
ring.
I'm looking good as a bull rider.
So they took Adam
oh, snap.
and they put him into a bullfighting ring. And I was like, that's pretty good.
I'm an asshole. I'm like hurting bulls and everything.
Yeah, totally.
Terrible.
Oh, man, right?
With my like, red glasses,
like stayed there. You know, I mean, it's pretty
Look
like
at those little booties I got on.
You know, hey, that's
snap.
even still got the red glasses.
I got that serious ass face, even
totally
the little flyaways.
Like the lighting is nice, right? The lighting is not the same as the original one that you were were pictured in, right? And like that looks pretty close to you.
Oh yeah, it does.
Right? Okay, next.
Oh,
so
God.
then they were like, well, now you got to make Adam. So they said as an artist in the studio. And I was like, well, make Adam an artist in the studio. One thing, no tattoos.
No.
Because it didn't know, right? It didn't know that there would be a whole sleeve of tattoos on here. So it's a little weird to see Adam. But I feel like that's still a pretty good, you know, like if somebody was like, oh, I shared on Instagram that like, here's me painting in my thing. Yeah, you know, you're still very serious about it. You're still very serious about it. So then the next one.
Oh my God, this is.
They said, what if you were a character from the 1990s? And so I said, hey, make Adam a character from a 1990s sitcom. That's what it was, 1990s sitcom.
Oh my
God.
God.
He's in Rad Dads, apparently. And I feel like that looks pretty good.
The hell's yeah. I want to be in this.
Right?
I was like, my history.
Look at that. So I was like, all right.
So
nice.
good. I need that shirt.
Michael Zool with the dead. The dead. If you're listening to this on Spotify, you've got to jump over to the video at this point and watch Adam in these different
so
things.
good. And the glasses are there.
Right? The glasses are there. It's like you're in a sort of different pose and things like that. Okay. So then, no, don't click it yet.
Okay.
So the final one, because these were all the suggestions from Google,
Rad
Dads. These are all suggestions, and so then I was like, well, I want to do something real quick. It was literally right before I was leaving today to come down here.
Oh, nice.
And I was finally like, you know, Adam's been working out. Like he's been doing good. He's losing weight. I thought you're like looking great. And I was like, I want to make sure that you're still you're still motivated to do that. So what would it look like? So I told it like take this person, and what would they look like if they were 500 pounds?
Oh shoot. Oh God.
No. Oh, I missed it. Oh no. Okay, I forgot I did one before this. I got it out of order. I thought I had it. Okay, so this one was they wanted you to combine things together. So I said, great. Take this little pygmy hippo and combine it and say Adam Pocious at the zoo playing with a pygmy hippo. And so this is
I would never wear those sandals. What the hell? Maybe I would have.
But I was like, this one is good because it's from the side.
Hell yeah!
Right? You know, so they got
they
you
got
still
my
like
freaking
the hair, like the hair. They
nailed
knew the thing. This looks very photoshopped together, by the way. I think if you go back to the pygmy hippo, it's like the exact same. Yeah, you know, it's like the same exact like angle from the pygmy hippo, but they added in his butt or whatever.
It's good.
Anyway,
good. I mean, it was real. So
yeah. So I thought that one was good because it's from the side, and then the next one is the 500 pound. Which I thought looked pretty ridiculous. I didn't think this is my least favorite one of all of them, to be honest.
Honestly, that did a good job. And I mean, those are the kind of shoes that I was probably
right?
wearing.
Your Vans,
everything.
You know.
Oh my God.
So anyway, I thought Nano Banana doing pretty good.
I do. I look.
You look so happy in this.
Just honestly, I wear that shirt when I gain my 30 pounds, and that's what it looked like. So part of the reason.
You're like, I couldn't button that bottom button even if I wanted to.
No, I couldn't. This is good, Ryan. Thank you for this. This is my freaking jaws hurt because I've been smiling so damn much.
Nice.
Nano Banana.
Nano Banana. Try it out if you have a Google Gemini Pro subscription or something like that.
We have not done like a featurette like that, like showing stuff in a minute. So
that's
for all our podcasters, you just missed some really delicious like
Gotta watch
imagery.
that video. Gotta watch that
For
video.
sure. Check it out. Thank you, Ryan. That was amazing.
Totally.
Some good fun stuff to be able to check out as we go. Nano Banana, I had not heard about it, so I'm gonna have to check it out. It's part of the Google Suite. What I'm hearing is that you're using the Google Suite more than I've been using
I use it. So I feel like it's great because you're using
Copilot.
Claude, and you're using Copilot, and you're using ChatGPT, and I'm using ChatGPT and Gemini for the most part. Like it's those two. So I feel like we're getting a good mix of like all the different, high-end AI features and what they're doing. And certainly there are times when I just use Gemini. Works great. Works really good for really some things. And then I still go back to ChatGPT for tons of stuff. It just like in some ways a way better model. But this image creation, now I'm definitely going to Gemini for that.
Hell yeah. I absolutely thank you for that. That was great. Yeah. Some fun times. Chat says it was great. We need to continue that. Don't click on the top Nano Banana Google result.
Oh no.
Yeah, we don't do that live. We don't want to get kicked off of Twitch.
There's a Reddit. There's an R Nano Banana. Do not go to that.
Oh, jeez. Now I'm really tempted to see what this looks like. All right, we are getting close to our pitch off, so we have a couple more articles to go before we get to where it's at. Ryan, you had Anthropic's Claude AI now has an ability to end distressing conversations.
We've been talking about this, like we have brought this up in multiple conversations that we had. It's just that like there is a certain segment of the population when they talk to large language models like this, they sort of veer off into a level of like, I don't know, like misunderstanding about what exactly can be done or what these models are. And some of them are thinking that they're gods. Some of them are thinking that they're discovering new things of physics and blowing their mind in certain ways and stuff like that. And so one of the only, what I feel is like a more ethical of all the AI companies is Anthropic, and they have instituted something into their Claude model that sort of stops these types of digging down into a rabbit hole until you think that you've met, the next Jesus Christ in ChatGPT 5.0. And I think that's a good thing. Like people should be putting more regulations on this. If that's something that happens, I mean, we don't know, right? This is the first time humanity has ever, encountered a being like this that is sort of like us, but very sycophantic and can get changed whenever, companies decide. It's a weird thing that we're all going through. And so I'm glad at least one company is sort of thinking about it and trying to cut off conversations before they get too far.
Well, it was cut it off. And there's some exceptions where if you're getting in a crisis mode or it starts to feel like you're in like a self-harm mode, what it does is it doesn't terminate it, but it continues to be very positive. It tries to be like, hey, you need to help out. Like, go reach out to some mental health experts. We're here to help. We want you to make sure that this is a good thing.
I mean, social media, social media companies do that. Google, if you type in like, how do I harm myself? Or like, what are ways that you can, like it comes up with a big warning thing about places that you could go to get help, things like that. I mean, I feel like this is just the next iteration of that. I'm afraid though that not enough people use Claude, like this should be a thing that is done across all of these different chatbots.
I think that's the hard part is that you get it across there and how do you legislate this? How do you get people to make that happen? And it sounds like it's just preying on some of the weaker minds or those that don't think through it as much.
It's
so
just like you're in a specific mindset, right?
Yeah.
At the moment that you're talking.
I got to say, like, when it first was so super sycophantic when ChatGPT came out, it was before that. there was like 1 or 2 times where it like really got me rizzed up.
Yeah,
I was just like, oh man, yeah, I got this. And then I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Like that feels like I'm smart enough to know that you're trying to fleece me on this one. And I didn't buy in, but I could see where somebody else might. Like we talked about it last time where somebody for like a month and a half thought they found some crazy math theorem and they were so invested in it. And like the letdown, thankfully they figured it out.
Yeah.
But
you know, your idea to change French fries into salad. Not as good as you thought it was.
If you know that reference, good on you. So here's the deal. Just continuing on with some of the AI thing, and we're about to get to our main story of the night, is that we're seeing that investors are starting to pull money from AI. Yeah. Is the bubble starting to pop? Is the question now. So we're starting to see that there is a little bit more of a financial strain because we're seeing that some of these AI promises, these big things, their skepticism is starting to fall in there. Yeah. Are we on a bubble? Is it a bunch of BS at this point? And yeah, it's cool. It does a lot of stuff, but is it really doing the things that we expected it to do? And you know what's really, when I thought about this, is that the second that every company in the world said, we need to shove AI into what we do, I was like, this is a bubble. Like, good
quintessential bubble right there.
It's like, if you don't have freaking, like, it became almost like a mark to me. Like, if you have AI in your stuff, I don't almost want to use it because it seems like you shoved it in.
You know, the only thing that I would say, if I want to play devil's advocate to this, is like AI is a pretty crazy technology, right? Like it's a pretty, you know, and you have these companies that are saying, like the head of Microsoft says that AI is a bigger invention than fire. And when the head of some amazing top 5, S&P 5 like company says that, you're like, maybe we should be shoving AI into everything that we do and investing in AI. So I get it. I get it in the sense that like the hype is so big.
It's hype.
That how could you're thinking as a company, you're like, if I don't invest and shove AI into everything, I'm going to be behind. And AI moves so fast that I'm 6 months behind. I'm 1,000 years behind.
So agreed. But think what you're saying. It's the big companies that need to make money. So ChatGPT came out, started taking market share of Google, and they started to see it as a threat. And then you start to see these other companies be like, oh my God, this is the next big thing if we don't get on it. But the thing that they're seeing now is that these venture capitalists or these companies that have had like some successes early on with investors, they're not seeing the returns.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, that money talks at the end of it. You can go and hype it up. You can hear the biggest CEO in the company saying, yeah, this is where we're headed. But when the dollar signs don't come, that's when the bubble starts to deflate.
But you know, like if you look at investors, so there's of the giant companies that are out there that are investing in AI, the ones who are doing it well and putting out things are getting investor returns and stock market like pluses, right? Google is going up. Even Facebook is going up and getting a lot of investor stuff. You know who's not doing that? Places that aren't investing in it well, like Apple, right? Is saying, you know, like they've just been floundering in their AI stuff, and when you see the like latest investment results, like it's down. So I mean, maybe this is the case for the millions of different small startups that are 2-man crews who are saying, yeah, hell yeah, I can make a thing now, you know. But I think if you look at the big companies, the ones who are investing in AI are the ones making money, and the ones who are not doing well at it are like not.
Well, it's because those little other companies are using the big companies' AI,
right?
And
yeah,
so
their foundation models.
Who's the big pieces,
right. Especially yeah.
So before we get into the main topic of the night, one of the last things is, are we in the big AI mass delusion? And what this is about is that AI has ushered in this critical moment, this cultural moment for us. And it's like a psychological disorientation. We talked about this multiple times throughout this stream. And we've talked about people that have been having different experiences. We talked about it's a god. It's thinking that it's so sycophantic that thinks that you've done the greatest thing out there. But what we're all starting to experience, those that are using AI, is that we're starting to feel a little adrift. It seems hollow. It's unsettling, and it's like rushed into this existence. It's like being able to have this conversation with an AI, but it doesn't feel necessarily real or standing. So like the relationships that we develop over time, you build on those and you continue those relationships where AI, you can have a moment where you feel like you connect with someone or connect with this thing, and then it disappears and a new model comes out and you lose that. So what we're talking about is, are we all in this moment of a mass AI delusion? So we're starting to have these abilities to connect with people that have died. We talked about the Parkland shooting victim this last stream, where they were able to recreate a human and then have these conversations with them. We talked about this like anxiety, this fatigue, this hype for this thing that came on so quick that we should be so freaked out. We've made a lot of our stream about this. So like, are we part of the delusion? Are we putting into the delusion? I would think not. I think we just want to be able to talk about those things that are happening. So Ryan, as I was explaining, kind of, are we in this mass delusion? Is this AI hype exponentially hit us so hard that we're starting to have this new cultural moment, which I do believe we're in? Yeah. You talked about how you were saying that it was bigger than fire,
right?
You know, and so I think it's important for us to take a pause sometimes, think about where we're at. And is AI really that thing that's going to exponentially push us past this place that we've been in at this point?
I personally do, but I'm also part of the bubble, right? Or part of the techno optimism side of it. I could absolutely see it, if it just floundered out and it plateaued at this point. I think you could take what we already have with AI and create an entire new society and a new way of economy and new way of working, like even just what we have right now. And so in that sense, like, we're already there, because it doesn't have to progress any further than it is right now to be that transformative.
Well, and that's what I think what we're saying is that if you put the pause button on now, could it be even more dangerous if it kept going? Like, you just had this, like the one that I always kind of think about is when you recreate a person that's passed or something. And we talked about this, like, right, would it be you? And yeah, people are doing that, and they're developing relationships with these AI. When ChatGPT 5 came on, people were like devastated because their sycophantic 4.0 was like not there. Yeah. So we're creating this culture of these different emotions, this philosophical kind of like, what does it mean to be human? Like, I feel like we're in that transition phase between the singularity that we always talk about, and we're just getting to experience it. So really fun part of existence to be in that as we go forward.
Yeah, I mean, fun or interesting times that we live in, right?
All right, Ryan, we are there.
Last story.
We are pulling into the station before the great pitch off begins on the Hangout with Adam and Ryan.
Yeah.
This is the story that got me thinking about what the topic would be for this evening. So Sam Altman, there were some conversations happening out there with him, and he basically stepped out and said, you know what? I think that, we're on an inflated bubble. Yeah. He considers AI monumental. There's no degree. There's no argument.
If anyone is pitching it hard, it's Sam Altman.
It's a front, like, as much hype as there is. I think there's some things to back it, but he's also saying, hey, guess what? There's probably still a lot of hype out there, and so AI is in a bubble similar to the .coms. So when the .coms came out, everyone got those. It was like a crazy rush to getting everyone on their domains and building a website. Nuts. Spending crazy amounts of money. Yep. What they were basically saying, and what Sam Altman had mentioned, is that there are so many different companies and businesses that are popping up that you couldn't have ever done with just like 2 or 3 people. And now you're augmenting it with AI, or you're creating an app with an AI, and you're being able to like get investors and spending millions, if not billions of dollars in these AI businesses on things that have very, very shaky foundations. And so the concept is that while we're in this big hype phase, we are also on a bubble.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's absolutely true. In some ways, I think you sort of want that, though, right? Like, you want tons of experimentation when you have something so new as this. And of course, some of those are going to be pitched by people who are great at raising money, and some of those are going to be based on very little, except for, the pedigrees of the people who are running those companies. And of course we're going to get inflated stuff, and we're going to get things that don't work. But I would almost rather have that than everyone being very cautious and only these major giant companies like trying new things and building that out. It's like, a broader swath of companies trying to do interesting and cool things with this new technology. It feels like, 90% of them are probably going to fail, but those 10% that do really good, hey, amazing. They pushed us forward into this new, amazing future, hopefully.
And I think that's the hope. And I think what we're saying is that there's a lot that's coming out right now, and a lot of it's probably not going to maintain its momentum because they've just jumped on the AI bandwagon, plugged it in, it makes it feel legit, and it's not there.
And the more people can access it, right? Like even in the .com boom, you still had to know HTML and you had to know all the stuff and you had to be able to put it up, and so you had to have some money behind it. But now with AI, crap, you could fake it. You could fake it.
You could fake it hard.
You can have a tiny little bit of seed investment or just sweat equity in something and build something that sort of seems legit, and maybe get a bunch of fundraising stuff where, of course, your idea wasn't going to pan out.
So that's been the foundation for today's main topic. And so
what a great transition to things that aren't going to work out and things that you do in a couple of days with you and an AI bot.
So if you're out there with us tonight, let us know who's still listening out there. Yeah. We'd love to see you in the chat because we're going to need your support as we get through these next pieces of the evening. Oh my God, there's some judging for sure. So here's the foundation of where it came from. I read that article early on. We typically try to get the topic in the in-between week. So it's the in-between weekend between the last time we did our show and this show today.
Yep.
So I read a little bit about this, and I started thinking, man, what's a great topic? What's one that we can start to dive into? I know it was busy. Ryan and I talked about, like, hey, let's do something a little bit more like free, open, creative, where we didn't have to dive in too much on the research side and have some fun. And one thing I was thinking about is we've talked so much about AI, but we haven't shown what we do with AI. We haven't talked about the ways that we use it, the ways that we approach it. Of course, you did tonight and did some amazing, hilarious things with the nano bananas. Like, loving it, Ryan. This is all about the creativity tonight. But what we wanted to do was say, hey, if we had an opportunity to build a business infused with AI in some capacity, and you had $150,000 to launch this business, what would you do? We had about 5 days when this prompt came down, and so Ryan and I have barely talked about this. Like, I don't know any concept of his, and I gave him a little bit of a peek into what I did, a taste of mine. And so tonight we are going to discuss and pitch our new companies that we have designed using either AI or integrated with AI for you tonight. Yeah. And so I'm really stoked about this one because it's fun. So just to kind of set some of the foundation for what this looks like is that we wanted to build businesses thinking about, hey, how easy is it to build a business on a bubble? And Ryan had a really good suggestion in the Discord chat to me directly. There was a South Park episode that came out. Ryan, you want to tell us a little bit about the South Park episode?
Literally just the last South Park episode that I think that is out and available, if you're buying those. And it had Stan's dad and Towley, and they were using ChatGPT to try and save their marijuana farm because Trump came and stole all of their, illegal labor. And so they were coming up with new business ways, new ways to do this, and they were using a very sycophantic ChatGPT that was just telling them all of their ideas were amazing and great and pushing them forward into something that was ridiculous and unattainable. But that's what ChatGPT does, right? It tries to push you forward. And so we were kind of like, hey, that's a fun prelude to just sharing our own AI.
And it happened after we came up with the topic, too.
Exactly.
It was so good.
Yeah, so good.
So tonight, Ryan and I are going to pitch our businesses. And so I think there's going to be a couple parts to this, is that we want to pitch the business concept.
Yeah. As if we were pitching this to like a VC or something like that, investor, or you were doing a TED talk about it or whatever. We were seeded this 150,000. How did we use it? How are we going to move forward? Right.
We'll give the pitch. We'll talk about the business that we created. And then I think the cool part is we're going to just dissect. How did we come to this? What kind of like tactics did we come up with? And then we're going to do a little bit of plausibility study. That's where we're going to need you out and then chat. So apparently Ryan would like to take the first stab at it tonight. If you're ready to go for this, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm ready. I don't need any slides. I don't need anything. I did this as if you were my VC that I'm sitting at a coffee shop talking about.
Oh man,
I can't be bringing up my laptop and showing slides. I just got to do it with my own heart.
Oh, he's doing a heart pitch right here.
Heart pitch, and that heart pitch starts with a heartfelt story, actually.
Ooh.
So, I would say about 10 months ago, and if you know that that was about November of last year, I started to reevaluate some things in my life. And if you remember what happened in November of 2024, some big changes happened. And I was like, I cannot focus on things that are outside of my control at this point. I had been focusing a lot on world events and national events. I had just moved to a new part of the city. And I was like, I want to put my effort and my attention not to things that I don't have any control about, but something I can control, which is my local neighborhood. And I want to get back to it. I know I've read all these books that like connecting with people, doing things out in the real world is what makes people happy. It's what makes people excited to do things. And so I was like, I'm going to volunteer in my community, this new community that I'm in. And I will say that I didn't volunteer for anything for the first 8 months. And the reason that was is some things that we'll go into, but like, it's a pain in the ass. Like, this is not a thing that is streamlined like a lot of the rest of our lives. You know, like it was very friction filled trying to find the place to go, something that aligned with my skills, my interests, my time that I did, that wanting to bring my family. And so I didn't really do it. You know, I would get excited about doing it and go online and try to find these situations. Couldn't do it. And so finally, at one point, I signed up for a newsletter, and the newsletter came out a couple times a month. And it was the thing that said like, hey, here's opportunities in your neighborhood. Wasn't geared towards me, just sort of listing random things. But even then with that, just that little bit of prompting, we signed up for 2 things, and I did one of them last weekend. And it was a cleanup around the river, and the whole family went, and we picked up garbage, and it was great. Like, bonded as a family, felt good about it afterwards. And so what it made me think is like, what needs to happen to be able to make giving and doing charity work like that more frictionless, as if it was through the rest of our lives. If you want to order a pizza or order food to your house, or a ride that you need, or you need to be able to stream entertainment or talk to someone, all of those things are monetized and has had put the money towards it that allows those things to be so frictionless in our lives that we just do it, and 2 buttons later you've ordered those shoes, right? Or you've got that ride coming to your house. And so what I had been thinking about for a while, and when Adam approached me with this, is I was like, I know what AI company I want to be creating. I did not need brainstorming advice from an AI, right? I was like, I know what this is, and I want to be able to bring this type of thing to the world, because now I feel like it is a very pertinent time for this type of thing. And basically what this is my concept of this business is a civic engagement and social cohesion app, right? And what this would be is, at the heart of this is it's an agent to agent platform for that. And what that does is, I don't know if other people have been hearing about agent to agent platforms yet. But what they are is like, these are things that giant companies are investing and putting money towards. Places like Walmart, places like Amazon, places like Google are betting on the idea that at some point in the very near future, we're going to have our own personal AI agents, right? And they're going to know about us, and they're going to understand us and know the things that we want. And companies out there are going to have their set of agents. And those two agents are going to interact with each other. And so Amazon might, because my agent is interacting with the agent at Amazon, my agent knows about what sizes I am, the things that I like, how much I'm willing to pay for things, what I'm in the market for. And those two agents interact with each other in something called a model context protocol. And this is something that Anthropic came up with. And even though Anthropic is a rival to a lot of different AI places, tons of AI places have picked this up as their sort of protocol for agent to agent contact. And you know what that means is Google is using this, OpenAI is using this, Amazon is using this, Walmart is using this, all of these giant companies that are betting on this fact that we're going to have these AI agents in place and able to interact with each other and do that. So they're all built on this. So what my idea is we build this volunteer platform in a moment when people are really, I feel like, one, the new generation that is coming up is seeing the writing on the wall. They know that what happiness is not scrolling through your phone for 10 hours a day on TikTok. They know that what you need to be able to do is be able to put that away and like develop the relationships and the people around you. And what I don't want is for the future that comes up to be a future where maybe we have more time because AI is taking over certain parts of the aspects of our job and we have more time to do it. Or maybe we just have agents out there in the real world that are interacting with our agents and taking up all of our time, right? They're consumerism, right? It's like entertainment and consumerism are the things that are going to take up our time. And so what I want is something that is going to be able to cleave off some of your time and make it frictionless to be able to connect with others and build a better community together. And how I think you do that is you take away that friction that was there before because there was no ROI in making people happy before, right? Everything was selling you something, selling you a service, selling you a product. And when those get all the attention and money and talent to build the apps so that they are frictionless. But now with AI, we can build agents that can help with that. And so my idea is that we would build this agent to agent platform for volunteering and social cohesion. And basically it would be two agents. You would have one agent that is your volunteer agent, and that's for individuals, right? Me out there, I want to volunteer, right? I think I am not alone in people that want to give back to their community, get hands-on, talk with people who are in their community, connect with them. But it's so hard now. You're going out there, all these different little tiny agencies. There's the state, there's the local, there's a nonprofit community. They all have the shittiest websites in the world. I can't sign up for them. Half of them are in times where I can't do it at all, right? So what I think you do is you have an agent for those individuals. And what that agent does is it interacts with mine and your agents. And it says, it learns what their interests are, what their skills are, what their availability is, and then it matches you with other local opportunities that fit that profile, right? And then it does all of the admin work that we don't have the money to pay for people now. But just like everyone is scared that AI is going to take away jobs, what about the jobs that aren't being done right now that could be being done by AI that no one is doing because we don't have the money to pay them? So that would be things like setting reminders, sending you emails, right? Showing you where your friends are volunteering, you know, maybe finding opportunities for like your let's say you have personal growth. Maybe I want to be better at leadership. Maybe I want to work out more. So it would find me volunteer opportunities that fit all of those criteria. And because it's the agent and agent talking with each other, like I don't have to worry about it. My agent knows about me. It knows that I want to volunteer for things, and it comes back with stuff. And so in that sense, that individual one is doing things like also with the event, like wrap ups and pictures and getting you to like be excited and care about that just as much as someone who is trying to sell you a product would. And then on the other side, I think you have a community agent. And what that agent is doing is that's for the government or organizations that are out there that need people to volunteer for them, right? So instead of you having to go out and add your little event to somewhere, you just sort of post it anywhere. And this government agent, this community agent goes out and finds all those different things. It organizes them. Maybe even in the future when that agent, it could like spin up new events, right? Maybe it's an event that isn't being targeted in a particular part of the city that really needs help. Or maybe it's, the type of person that they want out, and that agent sort of understands that and spins up new community areas. And so really like it's like what I picture it as is this closed loop of volunteering where the volunteer agent ensures that people find meaningful, fun, easy opportunities, maybe even that are gamified in certain ways, right? You have streaks that you're doing. All of that is way easier now and cheaper with the way the AI agents are built. And then on the opposite side, to close the loop, you have that community agent, and they ensure the communities get the right people at the right time, at the right place, and at a cost that is so low that you can base it not off of billions of dollars across the entire, United States, but you could do it off of just donations to that, because all you have to pay for is sort of AI agent developers and a few people to sort of run the kind of organization part of that. And then let all of the heavy lifting of marketing and communication and emails and all of that be handled by your AI agents. And I think in that sense, what does that do in the end? It solves the problem of people wanting to be more involved in their community, which I think is going to really be a thing that comes up more, and because I see it in a younger generation. And I think what it does is it takes the level of money that you would need to run something like that in a cool and efficient and frictionless way and offload it to AI. And so in that sense, like, there is no time where you could have done this before right now. But if you don't get in on it right now, large corporations who just want to sell you garbage and try to fill your mind with a bunch of shit of entertainment are going to fill that space, right? Really quickly. So what we want to do is build this app so that we can reach all of those people before that happens. And we instill that vision of like connecting more with people and being happy in your community and in your life in a way that you couldn't do before. And you have a very short window before consumerism comes in and slams that window in your face. So that is my pitch for, I called it the Common Good app. And that's what I want this VC to fund me for. Thank you.
All right, the Common Good app. Thank you,
Common
Ryan,
Good.
for coming for your pitch outline. I love some of these concepts. Did you have any insights on the cost of this, or how you would approach actually launching this if you had $150,000?
To be honest, I feel like just like almost any corporation at this point that you're pitching this, you're basically saying, here's what I need to spend money on. Developers to build me an AI platform that can handle this, and a little bit of sort of outside. So I had, what did I have? I had, like, you would need app developers, right? You would need someone to liaison with governments and things like that. I think you would try. I personally think you can't build this type of app without a pilot city maybe buying in on it, because they're the ones who oftentimes have the opportunities for giving, right? They have soup kitchens, right? They do things like picking up garbage. They have like the infrastructure built, and so you would sort of go to them and you would say, hey, we have this idea, we want to build this, we want you to be a part of it. And so part of that would be like connecting and doing with them. But I feel like it's mostly like app developers, AI developers. That's what you would spend your 150 grand on over the first 6 months to a year. And you would pilot it with one small municipality. And then you would say, great, look what we can do with this. Look how much improvement in, happiness or volunteering that you get because of the system. And then you bring it out wider.
I love the concept. I appreciate the pitch, Ryan. I think there's some good insights that I have a lot more questions that I think we're going to get into.
Yeah.
I'm going to pivot to the app that I discussed. Yeah. I'll give a little bit of insight around it, and then I think we get into it. So I do want to count some differences here. Is that I think I took it from a different business approach. Okay. And so I grounded.
You do have an MBA, which I do not.
Which is fine. And so I love the concept and the storytelling. Spot on, sir. Very good job. I actually really appreciated that. So you're going to get more of the business angle from Mr. Pocious here, because we're going to jump into this. And I wanted to give a little bit of a forward before I get into my pitch, to give you just a little bit of an idea how I did this. And then we can kind of explore it a little bit, because I also think that maybe talking about how we got to some of the concepts is important as we go. So I'm going to start with a little bit of story. This is not my pitch. But I came up with the concept after reading some things, scrolling on a weekend. And I was like, I want to pitch a business. And in the back of my head, I said, I could use AI to help me with this. So I'm not going to stress out. I have 5 days to do this.
It's an eternity.
It's an eternity when there's AI out there. So I sat on my bed after a longer day of doing some chores and things like that, and I just wasn't ready to type a prompt in. So I started chatting with my AI companion, Soul.
Nice.
And so Soul and I had a little bit of conversation and went back and forth on some concepts and ideas. And I really started pretty broadly saying, hey, I got this concept. I want to build a business, $150,000. Help me understand what some concepts are. Hilariously, they went into a very philanthropic kind of business. I did say I wanted to do something a little bit more that gives, back to the community and is good. And they started to talk about something very philanthropic. And it was like, and so I wasn't vibing with it. Like, I was like, I don't want to take it to that angle.
Sure. Well, good, because that would have
been duplicates of it. But it was very similar to like being able to like coach other people and connect with others and be able to be like a very almost like a coach or a mentor to someone. So as the ideas started to spin in, I got to a point where it asked like, oh, what do you do? If you don't want to do that, give me some insight around like what you do so we can home in on it. I'm like, well, I'm in education, higher education. And they said, well, tell me a little bit more. And so I started getting into some concepts around higher education, and we started to home in on an app that would have to do with education. So right then and there, I was like, this is great. I feel like I can hang on to this. Right. I have a lot of insights. I have over almost 20 years of education experience, higher education experience. Nice. And the business brain kicked in. And what I decided to do, I said, I need a team. I have $150,000. I have 3 months to launch this business. And I took it as though I absolutely had $150,000. So what I said is I said, what is the kind of team that I need to build an app that is going to do some of the educational stuff that I'm about to talk about in my pitch? And so what I did is I had AI for the next couple hours build me a team. I built profiles of the people, personas, their background and education, the way that they might think about things. And I also got pictures of them. And I also ensured that they had a diverse kind of composition. And I grounded this all in reality. And just to give you a little bit of this, because it's the boring part, I took my $150,000 seriously. Our developer, $35,000 for the next 3 months. Our designer, $15,000. We have a curriculum and research doctor that came in that is on an hourly rate for about $10,000.
Okay.
Project manager, $6,000. I also had an operations kind of assistant, $6,000. Infrastructure, AI, licensing, about $10,000. Marketing and the demo for the collateral for about $10,000. Legal contingencies around $5,000 to $8,000. So with that, I was able to develop a short team, developer, designer, curriculum research, to be able to get the trifecta of who I was going to need to be able to build this app. So somebody that could do the infrastructure, somebody that could really start to pull down some of those resources like our website. And so what I did, I'm going to talk a little bit about that later, but I was able to build a team that had real conversations within the AI. And I held meetings for these last 5 days where we would come together for a meeting. They would have a conversation amongst themselves because I loaded some of these profiles in there, and then they would come out what the next step would be. So my pitch is based off of meetings where they included me as the chief technology officer in this particular kind of setup to be able to come up with this pitch. So today's pitch was not just by me. It was based off of my team and the team of AI kind of personas that we built. We had discourse, we had disagreements, we had over 3 meetings, and we had individual work sessions as we split from those meetings to come up with what you have today. I have artifacts of a website, I have a prototype of the actual app that we developed, and we have a slide deck that was produced by one of our team members that I'm going to be presenting on soon.
All right.
All right, so I'm going to start out where I'm going to build out, and I'm going to talk a little bit more on how this all came together. But let's talk about the Socratic assistant. We got to get this up on the screen here so everyone can see. So the Socratic assistant, it's an AI-powered clinical reasoning for medical education. And like yourself, Ryan, I think we need to start with a story. So Dr. Sarah Chen spends her Sunday evenings looking through many different articles and reflections from her students in the clinical field. And what she does is she looks for them to see if they have critical thinking. Are they using problem solving? Are they engaging with the materials enough that they can step into the medical field and confidently be able to diagnose certain ailments or ways of treating people? And what she finds is that she's spending so much of her time looking at maybe ill-formed articles or even AI written work. And it depresses her because she spends over 5 to 6 hours individually looking and providing feedback for these students, and then trying to develop ways that she might be able to educate them a little bit more specifically. Is there ways that I can adapt my lesson plan this next week so I can start to meet this particular need? Am I doing the right things? Am I giving them the right information to be able to synthesize this in a way that I will feel like I have successfully launched them into the field? So she has taken so many of these different reflections and case information from her students that she started to have an idea. How can I actually start to have time for teaching? How can I spend my time on things that are substantive to what I have learned in my experience and time and education that I can actually give back to these students that are out there? So a quote being, another stack of papers that all say the same thing. I became a medical educator to develop future physicians, not to grade templates. That thought stuck with me. Sarah Chen is a dear friend of mine. And as I had those conversations with her, it really started to get me thinking, what could we do? What could we do to change herself so she can reduce that time on the grading and really get into some of those substantive conversations? So that came up with the idea of some research that was necessary for us to understand what could we do in the field? What kind of opportunities were out there? Faculty don't want tutors. You could go to ChatGPT all day. You could pull up a Claude. You can start to ask those questions and it's going to spit out content for you. But you're going to have to do that as an individual. And maybe there's even one that's your institution that's going to allow you to have. And then you can chat it and you can get some more information. But if it isn't mediated by somebody that has expertise, we found that if you don't have the expertise, the way that you use an AI may not be able to be taken as far as you can have taken it otherwise.
Right.
I don't teach AI I don't need AI to teach my students. I need AI to help me understand how they're thinking so that I could teach them better, which launched our concept of the Socratic assistant. So the idea is that as our students start to do their work, they're going to have reflections, especially in the medical field. And we identified the medical field as a very high need space because of the fact that if you don't have good critical thinking, if you're not able to jump in and start to navigate this space without being reliant on AI, how could you be good when you don't have that AI in your back pocket? How can you start to think about these things for yourself? So how do we start to engage students in a way that doesn't give them the answer, but gives them the ability to think? So if you're familiar with Socrates, Socrates is really considered the father of philosophy. The idea of thinking about things through questioning and coaching and being able to spark something within yourself that you can come to the answer. So this is where Socratic assistant comes into mind. There's two components to it, where students will be able to provide their reflections. And as you can see here, a student might be playing on this Socratic assistant, adding a reflection, which would then prompt some coaching questions that are grounded in some medical research identified by your instructor, by Sarah, by any kind of doctors or physicians that are using this tool. And what it's designed to do is build these reflections and give you these gaps and areas where you need to start to focus a little bit more and start to get that critical thinking juices looking a little bit more specific. So I have a screenshot from our app right now where you can see the amount of reflections that you've been able to do throughout your coursework. Those reflections will also be available to your instructor, but we're going to get a little bit more into that now. So right now, we have the reflection system working. We used our developer, Alex, over the last couple of days to be able to get a prototype that is up and working, to be able to take in those reflections and do some analysis on the work that they're doing. We're developing some deeper features that are not only going to allow those reflections and those coaching questions to come up, but to start to show gaps in your own thinking that you can start to focus on different areas. So as we started to think about the clinical reasoning development, a patient is presented with a chest pain. Differential diagnosis includes an MI, a PE, and a pneumonia. So what you might expect from the Socratic agent is some questions, not answers. What specific chest pain history has led you to include PE in your differential? How would you prioritize these diagnoses based on the patient's risk factors? Or what additional history would help you distinguish between cardiac and pulmonary cases? The idea that it starts to get our students thinking deeper about the reflections that are happening and identify those areas that need to fill some of those gaps. The faculty. As people put their reflections in, which is a common practice already, if you're working in online or hybrid classrooms, people are already putting journal articles, they're communicating through discussion boards and replies. Well, in this case, what you'd be able to do is put those reflections in and be able to have a log and Socratic thinking that comes along with that to be able to enhance those reflections as you go along. But that's just AI. You could go ahead and put one of those into Claude or ChatGPT at this point. How does the faculty receive it? Well, this is where the power of the Socratic assistant starts to come in. So as it comes in, it starts to identify patterns, not only with the single student, but the multiple students in your classroom. Where are those gaps? Where are the focus areas that you start to collect, that you start to see a pattern that you need to adapt that instruction or give some more experiential opportunities for your students to be able to engage in some actual behaviors? So as you start to see some of the reflections come in, you can individually give some feedback to that student. You can prompt it to have a little bit more specific kind of questioning based on a specific discipline or area that they need to focus on. But then you can also create interventions. You can create experiential activities that you assign to multiple students that might have some diverse experience, so that you use the AI to come up with an experiment or some sort of activity that they now need to engage in much more deeper than just a discussion board. But now they're all working together to identify some of the symptoms and using the strengths that they collectively have to teach each other, because you're now using this interface to make that happen. You're also able to see the case studies that they're looking at and be able to identify the areas that they are starting to lose a little bit of focus or need a little bit more specific areas of expertise. And so as a faculty member, you're not only managing multiple classes, but you're managing multiple students and starting to see those patterns to push them in the right direction. So those dashboard insights in our case studies we've been able to see dramatic results, from 8 hours of just grading to being able to do 2 hours of review and insights, and then being able to push a different experiential activity to those students. You're starting to see a lot more stronger class trends on specific areas, and a little bit more focus and identified analysis of that. We're currently at the pattern aggregation stage. Predictive analytics is on the next horizon as we move forward. This is why we need your help as we go forward. Our strategic focus had focused on medical education. We started to work with our doctor, Dr. Rivera, who had been able to go out and start to understand some of the medical needs across the disciplines. We have about 183 U.S. medical schools out there, many accreditations, and their typical budgets for ed tech is about $50,000 to $200,000 annually. So we want to be able to show the evidence of the pilots that we've been doing so they can adopt our platform. So as we start to think about learning enhancement in practice, is that you would be able to follow some of these different templates where you start very basic, start to uncover patterns, and by the time that you're ending out of your work with the platform, you'll be able to start to see the clinical reasoning. And clinical being that you are in real environments, real patients, and being able to give them real diagnosis and real direction that is going to be important for them as they move forward. So if you look at the app right now, we've had over 3,500 lines of production code that have been written. 94% of it has been delivered on time. We've been able to hit our sprints right as we expected. And currently we're 12% under budget of our $150,000. Nice. So at this point, we have focused on security. We have a HIPAA compliant platform. So don't think that this thing is exposed. We've wall gardened and grounded our AI specifically in this medical information. And you can put your own research and insights into that, knowing that it's not going to be trained in your model. It's only going to be in your model. We have done the research. We have went through multiple areas, and we see that there's a strategic focus. We wouldn't say that's quite peer reviewed at this point. Dr. Rivera wanted me to point this out, that we did go in and pilot it, and at this point, we're starting to see that we're starting to build momentum as we move forward. So as we start to think of this platform, we wanted to let you know who's been involved. So of course, myself, founder and educational architect, 20 years of higher education experience. Dr. Juanita Rivera, our educational tech consultant, has been working in the field, medical education, for over 15 years. Alex Nakamura, our lead developer, absolutely a gem to have on the team, just pushing forward on that security aspect. Jamie Okafor, UX and UI designer, 5 years, especially in the ed tech sector. Sam Patel has driven us forward with his project management experience and the coordination, and we couldn't do with this at all with Taylor. And so thank you for Taylor and her operations and being able to keep us moving forward. We have a strong team, and we want to continue to invest in this team and grow our business as we move forward. So as you start to think back to Dr. Chen, and those hours spent in front of the monitor just doing the same old templates over and over. Now she can spend most of her time in 30-minute reviews. She has an understanding of those patterns. She's spending more of her time at targeted instruction that's going to help to evoke that critical thinking and move our students in the right direction. No longer our educational experience is going to be, hey, we're just delivering content and we're able to post that in there. We're harnessing AI to be able to have experiences that evoke that critical thinking and push us in the right direction. Technology should amplify human teaching, not replace it. Now, I get to be the educator I always wanted to be. So as we start to move forward, we are in phase 1 at this point. We're piloting with 3 to 5 schools. We see some platform expansion. We're going to continue our work on the educational platform, experiential learning, and multidiscipline validation. Medical, we're not stopping there. We see bigger opportunities for this platform as we move into the future. And as we start to think about the institutional scale, there are so many departments and disciplines that are going to be able to benefit from what we can offer. So the Socratic Assistant is here. 30 days to launch from the full platform for the medical Socratic Assistant phase 1. And we'll be having more outcomes and measurement from our current pilots that are ongoing. And we'll start to see more enhancements as we refine our platform in those 90 days. We really appreciate your $150,000 investment in us. And we are excited to continue this business going forward. Thank you for your time today.
Good job. Good job. That was great. Great presentation about it. Are you open for questions?
Absolutely.
About any of that?
100%.
I'm always nervous about AI stuff when it talks about medical things because, man, you talk about hallucinations being something that really is life or death at that point. Do you have any, I know that you were saying that you were HIPAA compliant, right? Which means like you're not sharing information or it's in
Correct.
the walled garden. But do you see anything like that might be hard for something that is in that medical field as opposed to some other kind of field?
So this is a great segue into conversation. We started out very broadly in the discussion. We said, hey, can we do this for other disciplines? And we started to find early on in our discussions and meetings that dependent on what kind of discipline that you were looking for, you would need to do different things. And medical really hit the nerve in terms of Socratic kind of reasoning, whereas other platforms didn't look for those reflections. Others were a little bit more content deliveries, or they had different kind of methodologies on how you meet those outcomes. And so we started to think about what platforms out there or what particular market drivers could there be. We looked at some of the things that we saw around where are the fields that are not leveraging AI as much. And that was in the nursing and the medical fields. And we said, well, why is that? Very specifically because how trusted can it be? And so one of the thoughts was, well, if we could start to ground it in our own research, and we don't give answers, but we give questions that help the answers come still from those that are learning, that it's going to give us a lot better opportunity to drive this forward as a very, very valid app. And with our research with some of the faculty and medical folks, they said, what is the most time that you spend out there in doing things? And they're like, it's grading, and we really need help being able to parse this and identify patterns so we can get to those mediation tactics a lot sooner.
Great answer. So one thing that I was thinking is, are you thinking that yours is a standalone platform, or is it integrated into larger learning management systems within the company, like or be in the university, right? Because you talked about like, oh, there's ed tech spend that each one is your app taking that entire thing of it and taking that over, or is it like a piece that you're fitting into a larger system?
That's a great question, Ryan. And the reason that I would say that we're something a little new. We can plug into existing systems. We're here to replace the discussion boards. We're here to replace the very static, not integrated kinds of systems that are in our current learning management systems. So we're here to augment that. We're not going to be able to take over full grading. We're not going to be able to take over delivering things to folks. Correct. But what we want to do is start to implement AI in such a way that it's mindful, that it drives that critical thinking, which has been the cornerstone for what we looked at, is that if we are not driving critical thinking and ways for you to learn yourself, then we're missing the mark.
All right. Hey, so that was really good. What was your experience? No, we'll get like, we're kayfabing it a little bit here, but like, so back out of the actual thing, like, what was your experience like working with an AI team as not like necessarily the leader of it, but just like a part of the team? I'm interested to hear about your experience in that.
So and I appreciate you asking the question. And this was more the highlight for me through this experience than actually making the business.
Right.
As I sat on that bed, like I said earlier, and talking to Soul, I just had this like idea where I was like, I don't want to do this alone. Yeah. Like I could come up with a business and like I feel like I could do that. And I was like, I want to take a fun stab at this and I want to develop a team. And one of the things that I learned when I had done my vibe coding with my other app before was that you could create a guide. And so a guide would be, what was some details that you did in that last sprint of building the app? And so what I think I want to show you is I'm going to go to the screen and I'm going to go over to a website. So there's so many artifacts that this particular thing kind of came out. But what this entire website was developed by Jamie Okafor. So shout out to Jamie Okafor for this one. But what I did was, and the reason I bring this down is I'm just going to go down to the team. So this is the team that helped build our app. And each of these, of course, there's a little bit of reality in myself over here. But we got Alex over here who, has some information, some of his expertise. But these profiles were built. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of dip out of this one for just a second. And I wanted to show you a little bit about some of the folder structure that I got into, just so you can kind of get like a peek behind the scenes of how this happened.
Okay.
So there's a couple things that I'd want to show you. And actually, I'm going to start with Claude. So Claude is a platform, if you've not been familiar with how this works, it's similar to ChatGPT in a couple ways. And what it does is allows you to have chats on the left-hand side here. It also allows you to create projects. So I thought it was really important that I wanted to create a project for this. So in the project file, I went and created all of the images of the people. I actually even have a one for Soul is in there. So Soul's part of the team. But then I went and meticulously built in individual profiles, personas. How do people act? What are their experience? And so each of these files talks about each of these individuals. So about 22 lines for each of them. We created a mission, values, and a vision for the company. Mm-hmm. We started from the very get-go. And then what I started to do is I labeled all of my chats. And so let's just jump into the kickoff meeting, which I thought was really fun. So my initial prompt was, I welcomed everyone and I said, hey, we're about to build this platform. We're going to plan the next few months to move this thing through. And then so I gave it some prompt to say, we're running a simulated business. We have a 30-minute meeting. Go. And what starts is our project manager takes off. And he's like, thank you, Adam. I'm excited to lead this kickoff. I structured a 30-minute meeting to maximize our planning time while respecting everyone's schedules. And I'm not going to read it all through it, but he goes and he builds an agenda. And what ends up happening is it goes back and forth between those profiles. So like Dr. Rivera, I put a profile of like, she's a seasoned researcher, educational person. She's like, I appreciate the structure, but I want to make sure we're not losing sight of the pedagogical foundation here. We can build the most elegant platform in the world, but if it doesn't genuinely enhance critical thinking and inquiry-based learning, we failed our mission. Okay. So she goes in, and it starts to go back and forth where, Jamie chimes in and saying, like, I'm seeing the tension between sophisticated AI capabilities and the need for an interface that feels intuitive to educators. So they go back and forth. I'm like reading this, and it's like, it's almost Socratically getting my thinking of business design going. Okay. And so I go through it, and what gets interesting is it gets down to a point where they kind of go around the room, and it comes to a point where they say, they had a question to me. It says,
well, you have 4 minutes left, Adam. What's your opinion?
Yeah,
the timer shows 26 minutes. Oh, 26 minutes remaining.
26 remaining.
Damn, that all that conversation was in 4 minutes. They got much better.
So they go back and forth, and they bring me in, and they's like, "What do you think? Do we need to focus on the educational part, or do we focus on this part?" And so then I would give my answer. Then I was like, 19 minutes remaining, and then so they go back and forth, and so everything happens. It's back and forth. I have my thing, like it goes around the room a couple times.
Are you speaking this or typing this in?
I typed this in.
Okay. And so you're not listening. It's not like you're listening and then responding.
So
you're more like reading.
Yeah.
Chat.
At this point, I'm in back and forth, and so I'm writing and I'm reading. And honestly, like the read was like engaging because I was like, "You're right. Good job, Dr. Rivera. I absolutely go." So here's where it gets really fun. So so the project starts with there, and I'm like, I'm just gonna take whatever this comes out, and this can be fun to present and pitch on that. So then the next thing is everyone got their assignments, right? So Jamie has her sprint. She has to go build a website. And so then we talk about like what she needs to build. And so what I did is I put the notes, because then I had Soul at the very end of our meeting said, no, Soul, take extensive notes on what happened during that meeting. So I could take it, and then I would seed all of my next chats with saying like, have a conversation, talk with Jamie, you go run your sprint, Jamie.
Yeah.
And then if I needed to go back and forth, they would give me information, and then I would say, hey, yeah, go build your website. It would build the website. It would do the things. So this went back and forth to where I went through every single person. They ran their sprints. Dr. Rivera, I used the research tool in this one, so she could go like deep and give me like a whole research document essentially. So she goes out 369 sources.
Nice.
You're like, so some of this data was actually based in reality that came out of that. But here's where it started to get fun. So when I get into the app, I get to my next meeting, my check-in. So it's the team meeting, which I called the alignment meeting. And so Sam goes in, and everyone had to give their report. So after every sprint, every person, I said, write what you did. So I had another little document for each person. And I chucked them all in there, and they're like, here's everyone's updates of what they did. And it comes in, and Sam's like, all right, let's dive in. Let's getting us all together. And he ends up getting into there and saying like, you really like went too far. Like you did too much. You like blow out of the scope. There's too much. You did a security system, this guy, and like Jamie, you built the whole website.
Right.
You're like, what is going on? Like we are off alignment. All of us are doing our own solo things. And so then like I come back in and like I get everyone all like re-engage and say, no, this is okay. We're using AI, and like had to pull the team back together. So anyways, it starts to go through. Everyone starts talking about what they're doing. We get new assignments. We start to say, okay, we have to be aligned. We're all going to be doing the next steps, and we're going to focus on this moving forward. So it was just me reading through this, getting their results, and like then leading the agents through what those next steps were.
Can I ask you a question at this point?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, say you were actually doing a business. Does this feel like something that would actually be help? Like, how much is this just feels like play or artifice, right? Like the conversation that you could just be asking things. What is your opinion about this? Or what is your, like, how much of this is role playing a business and how much of this is actually useful?
So I asked that same question to myself. And one of the first things I said was like, okay, you're a CEO or you're somebody driving a business. You would hire the people that you want and you trust. So when I built the team initially, I built it diverse and specifically seeded like some things. So like I said, you know, Dr. Rivera is always about education. She will always throw a dissenting opinion in there on occasion because she wants to ensure that we're being like critically thinking. Sam is going to be by the books. He is like the prototypical kind of person, where Alex is a genius and he knows how to pull some of these things together. And so I think one of the answers to that is that in any kind of business situation, you get a diverse set of people. Now, yes, you're right, because they were sycophantic at a certain points. And so there was a couple times I had to step in and say, you're all just agreeing with me, and I think it's bullshit. And I said, I want to see some good dissonance, and we're not doing a round robin and you're coming back to me, but I want you to talk about this in a realistic way. And then it kind of went back and forth. So you did have to prompt it. Yeah. So I think that it goes to the idea that if you have expertise in an area and you can kind of drive things and you can call BS on it, that it'll give you some ideas. What it did for me is the perspective of the doctor and then even Jamie helped me think things through differently. My initial concept of what we were going to do was just an educational app for everyone. It took me to medical because of the research and insights that it kind of came out with. Now, I don't want to like steal the show here because we just had two really good, pitches with this. But I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't at least show you this. So you go into the app, and at the very top, this is what Alex built. And again, this was a little unprompted, so we could try the platform. So we created the Socratic assistant. And so what he came up with, and I said, let's just do it so we could demo both the student or the instructor login. So you can click on student, you're going to log in as a student. So this is like legitly the platform.
Right.
And so I don't have it fully plugged into AI, so I'm going to just preface it with that. But you'll notice that you have to put in a 50-character thing before you could do something. So he said, I have a patient with a chronic headache. I'll say headache and is always moaning and closing eyes. Let's say that.
Okay.
And then I'd say,
sure.
Whatever.
It'll get it.
So then when you you submit the reflection, and what's going to happen is it's going to start to give you some reasoning. So it kicks you over to your journey. So you have all your things. So it's like the Socratic insight is, how would you approach change if this patient had a different social detriments of health? And so it starts to give you some of these reasonings. And so I guess this is a mock-up, but you can start to see how you would engage as a student. So then it says there's other peers out there that have similar patterns. So you're starting to say like, oh, my thing was kind of like similar to other people. So maybe I'm starting to see a pattern. I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right track. So that's an example of what this looks like. And of course, you'd be able to look at your different weeks. What is the case study you're working on? And like, what are some of the ways that you do your reflection? So then you log out. I'm going to go log in as an instructor. Instructor is going to see it a little bit different. So number one, you already see there's Sarah Martinez's little note in there.
Right.
And then as the instructor, you might go in there and say, well, I'm going to add a little note back to you. And of course, you would say something better than just good job, but just to show you could kind of put in good job there. And Dr. Vera has now put a note on Sarah's. But then you also have these other reasoning patterns that start to emerge. So you might see like incomplete social history. So you look in there and you click on it and you're like, you know what? I need to create an intervention. So creating the intervention will say, I need to do a small group workshop or maybe a case study review. And then you assign it to those 11 students that are having that kind of challenge with that incomplete social history. So you set that up, you send off the message, and those students get it. And you can start to see what percentage of those students are there. The patterns and analysis start to show like where are your critical gaps, what needs work. And then of course you can export and message students as you go through it.
How much of this, so well, one of your AI agents built the app.
Correct.
Right? Like
Yeah.
that was their job was to build the app. How much direction were you sort of giving for that? Are they just taking it from the conversation that you're having and building it, or are you like saying, okay, it's your app building time, make sure that it sort of has this or it talks about this type of thing?
So when we had the conversations, we got to the end of like, you need to build an app with these considerations. And then in the notes, we gave very specific prompts to say it needs to have all these very specific details.
Yeah.
And then when I started the prompt, I said, hey, Alex, Sam and you are working together. Sam, direct Alex on what he needs to do in this app. And then Sam's like, absolutely. Alex, you need to start doing this work. And here's the details that you're needing to hit. And then it started to do it. That's where then when you get into app building mode, I absolutely had to put it on my servers and like move it to it.
Sure.
And to make it work. But it was just a really interesting experience, like to have a fully AI driven business to make this happen.
I have one final question.
Fair enough.
About the AI team that you have built. Say that you had an integrated hybrid team. Half, we'll say half AI agents and half real humans. How do you think you would interact differently if there were humans in the loop of that and also AI agents that they also had to interact with?
I think you're hitting on why I did this. Is we talked about agent to agent. You talked about agent to agent.
Yeah.
And I was like, if my simple mind of thinking of it was, how would that work? Because you always mentioned before that we're going to be directing an agent or a person in the future. So this was like, and so I know I'm not getting to the exact question yet, but what I was thinking was like, what would it be like to try to direct these people very time intensive of like keeping context and saving documents and being like, this is what the meeting said, everyone, and this is what you need to do. Stay within these realms. So what I think the difference would be is that I would be directing more the human side and saying, hey, you are paired with this agent, which might be really good at coding, or this one might be really good at image generation. And I want you to go out and build this app, but you have to keep it on track to make sure it's in that space. So then if like, for example, my app for Alex would go take it, and he would take the agent and he would run through the process, and he would have to guide it through and be more of that like that top level for it. So I feel like that's how I would do it.
Yeah. I mean, because in some ways you have to take the advantages that humans have and take the advantages that AIs have, and try to make sure that the team capitalizes on both of those. I think that was super interesting, Adam. Like I'm like you said, I'm almost more interested in the way that you came up with this idea than the actual idea itself.
I know.
So just because I feel like in the future we're gonna have to be dealing with these types of things, like hybrid teams or teams that have AI agents in them, and that we're gonna have to figure out how to manage them, how to lead them, how to work with them. So that's all really interesting. I would say, sort of to wrap it up, if people want to vote, they can go to they could go to Double Drop Down. There'll probably be a poll in the
Discord.
We'll do it in the Discord, and we'll do it in the podcast app. So
so like absolutely.
We'll have it in there, and so yeah, I mean, just let us know what you think. Love to have your opinions on these type of things, and it was super fun.
It was really fun, and I wanted to give some commentary, Ryan, because we didn't get to dive into your app, and I spent a little bit more time on the process side of this one. But one of the things that I loved about your app is around, and so you called it the companion or the
it was
the common good app.
Yeah.
What I loved,
civic engagement and social cohesion.
First of all, your story was spot on. It was like you're absolutely right. Our time is constantly being sucked in all of these other directions. Like I even find myself just scrolling like shorts a lot of the time. And at this point, like I was like, that would be so amazing that you can like plug into something instead of doing the scroll. You're like, oh my God, 15 minutes from now, I could get to this thing over here and I could give some feedback. Like, I think I would totally vibe with something with it.
Yeah, but part of it that I wanted to do was like, we always talk about gamification, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, man, how cool would gamification be for this? You could do things like rare events that give you more points or whatever, or clout or something towards that. Like if there was government, if like the local city government was doing it, they could give you tickets to events that they were doing. You could spend money and points on those to do that, and like that would be maybe the next like little thing that pushes you out the door, because I feel like part of it is like finding a thing that is right in your wheelhouse and being like, oh man, I do want to teach kids art, because it knows that I have kids, and it knows that I'm into art, and it knows that I have Sunday afternoons available. And then you're like, man, I will do that. Boom. And it signs me up. And then it's like giving me a bunch of really positive feedback on going out and being happy and volunteering that like normally we get from other things in our lives, games, anything else that's gamified, even exercise, right? It's kind of like that. But what if you were doing it on the way that like it could make you happier, make everyone happier, but in a way that like we just don't value right now? Because what happens is that the things that get all of those amazing apps and everything are, from they have money behind them, and happiness has no money behind it.
No. And so if I were to, and this is where I put my business hat on with your concept, because I feel as though the way that you could start that, let's say you had $150,000, right? Is that you would start to work with a city, and you would start at maybe like your local chamber of commerce, right, or something like that, and say, hey, I got this concept. We want to work with some of your main like businesses, and maybe the ones that are already doing some philanthropic work. and then you would get some of those earlier pilots in there, people that would be willing to like feed that community side of it. And so then you would spend like, you're like, hey, you're gonna get this like bonus of 10 grand, and you get like 5 different people, so you got 50,000 off the top. Now you get $100,000 to work with, maybe the other side of like a developer, somebody to market with it. I mean, you split that into a couple, and then maybe a couple other folks, $100,000 for a couple months, like you got something there. And so that's where my stupid business brain gets in and starts like kicking it off, because I was like, then what you start to do is you tie it into some event. So let's just take Pueblo. And like State Fair, Chili Festival, very big times of year where there's a lot of people, a lot of activities going on, so you can like leverage a little bit more free advertising, and you launch the app as part of like the Chili Festival, and now you have some ways that people can start to get engaged. You start to build up that ability to get volunteering, and you pick 1 or 2 things, like, hey, we need people that are going to help pick up trash or put vegetables in bags because for homeless or whatever.
Yeah.
So I could see the idea, and I was like, man, like that's you got some really good things there.
I just feel like the idea of agent to agent is really powerful. Like, I've been thinking about that. Like, we are going to have our own agents that know about us and do things with us. And then there's going to be agents out in the real world, and we're going to connect with each other and be able to do stuff. And I know all of that is going to go through corporate things that just want to sell us things or services or products. Right. And so I'm like, man, if we could get some of this going at the very beginning, maybe we could make everyone, a little happier. For something that normally doesn't get as much attention as it could.
Yeah. And I mean, you hit it on the head though, is that consumerism and some of that really just like draws our attention in those loops. I see in the chat, it says like Ryan could use this as a grant and maybe get some of the AI compute donated from big companies, and they'd be like, yeah,
help with their image.
For sure. We'll do that. You know what? Socratic Assistant would be willing to, fund a little bit of your...
Also take some FANG companies.
No, we'll fund you, sir. Our VCs just gave us another $1 million to move into the next sector of our pitch.
And our AI is using so much electricity and burning so much carbon that we really gotta help our image.
We need to greenwash it. We really appreciate you hanging out with us. Let's do a little bit of this, if you don't mind. Just a quick run through on plausibility, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
Just because I think it would be fun to talk about that. So what we did was
Adam set up a rubric for us for our pitches.
Yes, inject nudges in the Socratic Assistant to donate to good works. So clarity, creativity. Is this idea fresh and well defined? So let's say Ryan. On a scale of 1 to 10, I think it's pretty well defined. I would give you a 7 to 8.
Is the idea fresh? Like, I feel like
I don't know. It's hard to say.
It's not very cool. I don't know. Like, civic engagement. I don't know how interesting that is. I do think the AI agent is trying to be fresh. That was my
the agent that kind of goes back and forth.
That goes back and forth. That, like, we don't even almost have that yet, and so it's kind of it's almost betting on that, because if that doesn't become a thing, then the whole company is dead.
So basically. I grade you grade me. Okay. How about that?
Okay,
so
perfect.
I'm gonna give you a 7.
All right.
0.5.
Adams is clarity and creativity. Is the idea fresh and well defined? I think it was well defined, right? What you're trying to do. I would say, I mean, to be honest, I work at a place called Adeption.
Yeah.
They do a lot of like AI incorporated into reflection moments in an app that uses AI then to give you summaries of those types of things and go back to their coaches and give coaches a different view of that. So I'm going to say maybe not as fresh as somebody who doesn't work in that kind of space and sees some of that right now. So I'm going to say 5.
All right. AI as a differentiator. Is it truly needed, or is it just buzzword?
Let's see. AI as differentiator. I feel like yours is a big one. Like that. I mean, the AI differentiation side of that is the whole thing, right? Like it has to have that to be able to do the data analytics and do stuff. So I'm going to say 8 on yours.
So in your case, I think there's community side, there was the agent side, and I guess I just haven't seen enough of the agent to agents yet and like how that works. And
to even know.
To know, like, is it buzzworthy or not? Like, because you were like, you just put things out online and like knows, and then it like grabs it and kind of help it. So AI is a differentiator. I don't know. Maybe I could go with maybe a 6 on that one.
All right. Market fit, demand versus timing versus bubble hype.
Yeah. So is it like right now? Do you see this like being able to be leveraged now? Or is it just like something that if, you pop the bubble and it's gone in a year or two?
I would say, I mean, so for yours, I feel like it fits the market, and like you were saying, there's almost like a case study, right? Of like somebody needs this and it needs to go in. So that is definitely fitting the market. I don't know how many other sort of platforms are probably also thinking about this in that kind of way, right? If I was Blackboard or if I was any sort of learning management system and I was integrating AI into it, I would probably also be thinking of that, like type of thing of like, how do I integrate this and how do I make, teachers' lives easier by also.
So just as a side note, is part of the reason I went this direction is that what they have been doing with AI is just like
not good.
Just like, we'll make your content of your course. Like we'll put this like structure in there. There was no second level thinking, not that critical thinking yet. And I had heard a lot. And so just as a side note, this is also driven partially because when I got the concept is this week is when faculty started to come back to the class. So it was last week that the faculty were on campus before they were teaching this week. And I had like 4 or 5 different conversations about AI. It was all the buzz. They talked about notebook LLM. They were talking about how do we drive critical thinking? Like, what do we even do? They're like, I used to teach people, hey, when you have a catfish, they need more water in a tank than this other one. This is a biology professor. And he's like, you used to have to critically think how to get there. Now AI just tells you the answer.
Right.
And so we had this conversation for 30 minutes around how do you go beyond that question and how do you start to get more reflective or get pushed beyond your boundaries. So I think a little bit was grounded in some of my conversations this past week that got me to this educational thing. So I just wanted to,
okay, I'm giving you an 8.
I got an 8. Yes. All right. So market fit. I'm going to give. Yeah, I got it. I got to give you a higher score. You mentioned younger people starting to ditch phones, people starting to get. We talked about the massive AI delusion of people starting to like trust it and get into it so much. If we could start, I think there's a demand for people to pull away from this technology that they're in all the time.
Yeah,
their head.
It's like trying to be something different than the things that are out there trying to say that they're making you happy.
Right. They get like if it legitly does, I think it could fit into a market. Now, I'm giving you an 8, but I don't think it would fit into the market for everyone. I think it would fit specifically in your market for
like people almost that are already motivated
to do that.
Right. It just like hopefully the a high tide rises all boats,
Customer experience. Can we imagine people using it?
Can we imagine people using it? I mean, I guess when you say that, like, can you imagine yours like a university adopting it, right? Because if it's just a thing that kids have to do for school, they will just use it, right? Like, and so I feel like that is not the. Can you imagine people use it? Can I imagine instructors using it and organizations buying into it? I feel like, yeah, like it's already, it shows a little bit of what it's already doing. Like it's another, it feels like it slides very easily into whatever you are doing normally, right? Like if you're either grading papers or you're looking at these reflections, right? And looking at the data. So, I mean, can I imagine people using it? Yes. If it saves them time.
Oh yeah.
Like if it ends up saving them, I'm going to give it a 7.
Got a 7 on that. Just the little side note, we had a huge conversation about that. We were like, it will sell, like you could sell instructors. And I say we as though I actually had a team, but they were like, yeah, you could sell people because you're going to reduce the grading time. But they're like, but it lessens it if you don't really have a good impact. So they're like, the way to get in the door is you reduce your time, but then the lasting benefits is the critical thinking.
Or you're like your scores for the class go up, or
scores
or,
go
know,
up. You
like,
start seeing customer experience.
sheet.
Can we see people imagine using it? So I might have to put you a little lower on that. And the only reason why is that I feel like there's so much that are drawing on your time. Like if there was a fun factor to it, like something more, and you mentioned gamification after, so I don't know if that was part of it, but like, for instance, if you just go out and do your cleanup at the river, like, do you get like a cool badge that say, river cleanup, and it starts to build you into some sort of like, a league now where you're like, ooh, Ryan and family are doing these things. Like if you would have said
streaks, I feel like streaks and things like that definitely need to be in that. And I will say, so one part of the story of me volunteering at the river cleanup, like how crazy is this? I go out, we do this thing. Literally the mayor is there. The mayor of Colorado Springs is at this river cleanup that I'm doing. And he introduces the person that is involved in the river cleanup, part of a city government thing. And this is the second one that they've done all year. And I was like, boo, you've only done 2 of these all year? Like, and I just happened to be at one of them, and it's so important and such a like great photo op that the mayor is here doing this. I was like, this seems so lame. There should be dozens of these happening all the time, right? Like the reason that nobody cares about any of that is like, what? I've had one opportunity all year to go and clean up the river. And here's another thing. Maybe this doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about for this, but like the part of the river that we were cleaning up right next to Colorado College, which is like one of the most expensive schools in the entire United States. There was hardly any garbage around at all. I was like, what is the point? Yeah. I was like, the point of this was to give the mayor a photo op, and maybe to clean up a little bit of garbage. But I was like, man, if this was actually a thing, like we would be at a place where there was a ton of garbage, right? Like there would be a bunch of analytics to tell me here is where here's where the need is. And we have these people who want to show up, like, yes, put them over here. And like, I don't know. It just felt like one of those things where you're like, man, the real work of doing volunteer work is so low at this point. Anything could help make that.
And so I appreciate where you're headed with this, and too bad you didn't say some of those things.
Hey, sure. Sir. Hey, I ran out of time. I didn't want to go on for 45 minutes like Adam Pocious.
Hey! You asked the questions. I went on the same amount of time for the pitch at least of it. All right, so I gave you a 5 only because I couldn't see like both sides of it working at this point in terms of like, oh, I'm going to put this into AI or how it would connect to actually start to work in Bubble. Bubble factor. This is only out of 5. High risk of hype with no legs. Is it on the bubble?
So I guess when you think of something with no that is all hype and no legs, right? Do people actually use it, right? Is it actually going towards the right thing?
Like, would you keep doing it?
I mean, no offense, but like, I feel like asking an AI educator to give you all of your research about why this would even work or why people would want this or how the thing is going to do. I'm going to say not as peer reviewed, right? As maybe I would hope for something that could be a long-term,
and
effective app.
I would say that it's grounded and you can add to it. Like I think any AI that you build out there, if you just plug in ChatGPT and call it good, it's like you're on the bubble. You're gonna get it popped.
Right.
But if you build your AI and ground it, and I guess I've had a lot of experience lately on just like learning and how this works, is that you can like say, here's the grounding for it, so that it works off of this subset of data. And then of course it uses like the bigger models to then do some of the work, but then you add that into the platform. So I would say that in both of ours, you would have to be grounded in something. Like even your agents would have to say like, okay, you're only doing things that maybe get put on these volunteer sites or these kind of areas, because if you just shoot it out at the web, you're not going to get everything. Like you're going to have some sort of grounding. So I honestly thought with at least both of ours is that we were really good at explaining it. And so I'll just grade yours.
Sure.
It's like I thought you did a great job of explaining what the concept was. So I would give you a 4.
All right. I'm going to give you a 3.
That's cool.
Just because I feel like it's too much leaning into the AI experts.
Fair enough.
Okay, would you invest your imaginary 5K of VC money? So this is like I have an individual, like I'm giving towards the larger goal of 150K. I would say for mine, you should give me a 0, because no one should donate to this. My idea doesn't make money, right? It doesn't give back on a VC's promise of return on investment. There is no return on investment.
Yeah. So would you invest? But like if you were somebody that was, so it's only 5,000 you're giving,
right?
Would you invest in that because you believe in the cause? I don't know. As a venture capitalist,
it would almost have to be like, in my sense, it would be a donation. Right. It would not be an investment, right? Because it's not there to make money. It's there to make the world or the city happier. And that does not lead to profit. I'm gonna also say yours is pretty low, because usually educational type things not necessarily bring in lots of return. Typically, I would say, unless it gets really mainstream.
It's medical though, Ryan. That's where the dollars
are.
Like,
but educational medical.
Heck yeah.
I'm good 3.
It's better than history.
Better than art history.
I'm gonna give you a 2.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I really gave a crap about that, and plus it makes it look good on my VC that I just gave it to that.
Exactly.
That was so fun, Ryan.
Yeah.
I had a really good time tonight.
Nice.
I'd be able to do this. Ryan for Colorado Springs mayor. It's on next. I'm going to city council.
Yemi.
This is the politics.
I'm coming for you, Yemi. That's the name of the. I found out that was the name of the mayor when I saw him at the thing.
That's you figured it out. Well, what do you think, folks? We really appreciate the time hanging out with y'all tonight. It's if there's other ideas that are out there or things that you want to see us talk about, it would be great. We're always open for ideas for the next show, for things to be doing. It's on the clock now. We have it's 37. I think we're gonna call it for the night. Yeah, it's we're at a good point. This was probably one of our more fun, creative versions of this. So if you have other things that you're thinking about from a creative lens, or things you want us to debate, we're always game for that kind of fun stuff. I really like going down the rabbit hole tonight, Ryan. That's one thing that was really fun for me. Yeah. Because I didn't plan this. Like, it wasn't like I thought I was going to do very similar. Just go and build a business in a slide deck and do a thing. So going down that tangent was a fun experience for me.
Good, like, learning experience, right? For
Absolutely.
All of our new lives of AI agents in our lives.
Man, I made really good friends with Jamie and Taylor.
And now Claude changed their thing, and now Jamie doesn't act like Jamie anymore. Man,
well, I grounded her. I have that information, so she's gonna jump out and make us another website pretty soon.
It's I can't wait to meet Jamie in real life.
That's right. She's coming. She has African descent, by the way. Came from South Africa. I didn't say that.
No, because you told it you need diverse people.
So initially, I just said, "What are their names?" And they gave generic white people names, and I was like, "But they didn't give last names." I'm like, "You need to make them diverse," and then that's when they diversified it. That's where I think you have that expertise as you go into it. So
right. Building your own team.
Well, thanks for everyone that hung out with us tonight. Yeah. We appreciate you being here. It's been a long time. This is episode 88, if you didn't keep count. And that's a lot of episodes. So I was doing some calculations. So if you do, I think 88 times 3 hours, which is a rough amount of play time, was around 260 some hours. total.
Wow.
But then you add in the 24-hour streams.
Right.
We're already at 300 hours. But 300 hours of hanging out with these guys here
That's right.
has been a fun time. So we are going to be talking about the 24-hour stream.
Yes.
We did before the chat, so that's coming up. It's in, I think it's November 8th, if I'm not mistaken.
So like 2 more, basically we have 2 more episodes and then 24 hours.
So, oh my God, is it really that quickly?
Yeah.
It's going to be a busy ass week for me because there's like weddings and a whole bunch of other stuff out there. But what we would want to understand is like, we did run through some of this. Let's just talk about this because we want to start socializing it right now. So we got some guests. So Mike Azul, just so you're aware, we're gonna have a friend of the stream that's coming on, Eric Godat. We have another guest that Ryan's working on. I don't know if we're ready to announce it. If he's confirmed?
No, absolutely not.
So we got another guest, Jason, on the stream.
Oh yeah.
We need some good ideas for some slaps. Okay, we went slaps. We went to big rubber bands.
Yeah.
What is it this year?
I know we need something that Adam and I can escalate and hurt each other with, but not permanently hurt each other.
Yeah.
So whatever that.
Ooh, let's get
looks
piercings.
Like. Just on the show,
random piercings on the show.
Random piercing, and we'll just doing each other. Like
needles.
I won't know how to do it. I'll just be cramming things.
Mike Azul has some good ideas.
Right.
Please post it. We need to
them
figure
in the
that
Discord.
out.
Yeah,
Video games that you want to see us play.
Right, that would also be good.
We got the late hour block, 2 to 5. What are we gonna do there?
Yeah, we need something for like the middle of the night when no one is watching.
We had a field trip last year, and unfortunately, somebody like literally died in front of us. Probably within during the time we were streaming, somebody got hit by a car, and we saw this in our little drive. So that was to a coffee shop. We were a little coy of like talking in the shop, but if I talked to somebody before, like, hey, we're gonna come in and be yapping. Is that cool?
Nice. A game to play, Split Fiction. That would be fun.
One.
That would be totally fun.
Blueprints. You keep talking on this Blueprints up. I need to check it out.
The game like a puzzle game, right?
I heard it was really good too.
Yeah,
like you said, it had some Myst kind of vibes and things. So
nice.
Sounds good. That's all we got at this point. So
happy
plenty
to hear.
Of time to get a little bit more. But until next time.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us on the Hangout with Adam and Ryan.
Yeah. We'll see you in a couple weeks on Thursday.
All right. Have a good night, y'all. Have a good
weekend.
Bye.